bands that are rotating around the storm, and so the tornado is going the wrong way from what you might otherwise expect from tornadoes in this area. It is moving almost due west as the whole line rotates around Florence. So it is this rotation right in here. You see how the greens and reds are right next to each other. I'm going to get a little bit closer in for you and give you an idea of the timing on this storm. You can see that right in here we have the Mount Tirzah area by about 6 o'clock, Person County 6:10, and Allen's Level by 6:14. This whole area again is ready to go. This is the that strong couplet right through here. And again, getting closer in for you, you can see that this is a pretty well-formed couplet, and we do have a new update on this warning to give you an idea of where this storm is going. Goes until 6 o'clock. The warning updated even before our radar scan is, because this is moving west at about 25 miles per hour. This whole area is ready to go with regards to tornadoes. Remember that right front quadrant, if we were to cut the storm in half, this is the area of concern. Surface winds wrapping back towards the storm system at the surface, but aloft, very different wind directions. That's the built-in shear that we have to continue to watch for. I would expect more tornado warnings before the evening is done. Want to go back out to the coast now, where our own Paul Goodlow is battling those very rounds that we've been talking about. Paul, you might be in this rainfall band for the rest of the evening.
Well, the good news, Mark, is we're seeing the rain lighting up, looking off to the south where the wind is streaming from. I'm seeing a lightening of the skies here. We just had some heavy rain come through here, but we're on this back band. We've been in these bands all day long, so we're battling the front side of the storm. Now we're dealing with the back side of the storm, and that heavy rain continues to pummel the area and then move inland as well. But take a look at what the winds, the waves, and the surge has done to the docks behind me, even the boardwalk here. Plenty of boards have been ripped up. These dock boxes have been tossed around like they're child's toys, and you can see the debris line from the high tide of last night. We had record surge here across the Morehead City, Beaufort area, breaking up more pieces of dock and all types of debris. I've seen marine life here. I've seen shrimp. I've seen decent-sized fish, even down to bait fish, but even some decent-sized fish, as well as crabs, shrimp here as well. But you can see, as far as you can see, there's a lot of damage to this side of the dock and the boardwalk. We have another couple hundred yards of dock around that side. Also, the same type of damage being done across the region. And here's the thing, we had a second high tide this afternoon, right about noon. We still had overwash here, not as high as last night's. We have another one coming up after midnight, so a big concern if we'll see more, especially with a southerly wind helping to push even more water through the channel and also back in here to some of the rivers as well. And speaking of the rivers, inland flooding a huge concern. All the rain that starts here ends up farther inland, causing more misery to many of the rivers. Let's head down into Wilmington, further down the state where Mike Seidel is, and I know he kind of had Mike Bettis is actually in Myrtle Beach, and Mike, I know that center is slowly walking your way. Dr. Dabb said it's moving at 3 miles per hour, a walking pace in your direction.
Yeah, just amazing how slow this thing is. The problem with that is it really prolongs the rain, and then it just exacerbates the flooding that we get, right? Here's the bottom of the parking lot down here, and you can see we've already got water that's piling up here. The deepest part back there, maybe just over ankle deep. But the thing is, this rain's going to go likely all night long. And as they've been dealing with some flooding up there in North Carolina, will be a second to get it in South Carolina. The rain didn't really start till about maybe 6 or 7 hours ago, but then it really started to increase in intensity, and it's going to be intense here on this west or southwest side of Florence for the remainder of the evening, especially with this thing moving so slowly. Rainfall rates here could be 2 to 3 inches per hour. The good news in all of this is, the bigger picture, okay, is that the interaction with land has allowed Florence to weaken some. It doesn't mean it won't still be an impactful wind event. We're seeing just how gusty the winds are here close to the center, where Paul is, a good distance from the center on the backside, right? So we still think there'll be plenty of issues with down trees and power lines and electricity that goes out, but the overall picture is the general strength of Florence is decreasing. We've got a 70-mile-an-hour tropical storm, and more interaction with land is likely to weaken it even further, but it will not minimize the rain and flood issues that we see. So what we're getting right now in the Grand Strand only gets worse with the flooding. Anticipate the water to rise through the night tonight. Our team coverage continues right after this, right here on the Weather Channel.
If you live with diabetes, why fingerstick when you can scan? With the Freestyle Libre, a continuous glucose monitoring system, you can check your glucose levels anytime without fingersticks. With the Freestyle Libre system, just scan the sensor and manage your diabetes. You can do it without fingersticks. Freestyle Libre is available with a prescription at participating pharmacies. Learn more at freestylelibre.us.
Every so often, there is a breakthrough in modern technology. Now, for the first time, there is a flashlight that runs on water. Introducing the Hydrolite. There are no batteries and no charging. It simply runs on water. How does it work? You just remove the revolutionary Hydrocell fuel cell and immerse it in any kind of water for 10 to 12 seconds. When water enters the fuel cell, it immediately begins to generate power. Place the fuel cell back in the Hydrolite, and you have an impressive flashlight. The Hydrolite can be switched on and off like a regular flashlight and can literally run for days on a single water dip. When the water dries out, simply re-dip the fuel cell in any kind of water, and you'll have more light. It's amazing. And with a rubberized armor coating, the Hydrolite is rugged, durable, and made to last. But the Hydrolite is more than just a flashlight. By extending the barrel, it becomes a hands-free lantern. It's perfect for outdoor camping activities. It can even hang inside your tent. It's perfect for changing tires or for any time you need a hands-free light. And for those times when the power goes out, no problem. The Hydrolite is the perfect long-lasting light for emergencies of all kinds. It even has a full 25 years shelf life. Order now, and you can get your Hydrolite for just $29.95. And the shipping is free. Your Hydrolite will come with a water fuel cell that can easily provide up to 300 hours of light. But order now, and as a special bonus, you'll get a second fuel cell absolutely free. That's 600 hours of light. That's an incredible deal. There's no better light for emergencies and disasters than the Hydrolite. It runs on water. No more messing with dead, leaky acid batteries ever again. To order, call or go to the website, Hydrolite.com. That's Hydrolite.com. That's Hydrolite.com.
Make sure whatever you're into outside doesn't ruin your vehicle's inside. WeatherTech keeps you protected with everything from cargo liners, bump step, and side window deflectors to our laser measured floor liners. Order yours today at WeatherTech.com. The ultimate protection for your vehicle.
This is a game changer. No scrub deck wash. Game changer.
Game changer?
Yep. Game changer.
The moment you take staining to the next level.
Shop Lowe's and get 25% off our best paints and stains via rebate.
Steph, are there areas where you can see as you look at the buildings that there may be some water intrusion just because of the windswept rain that's coming in, or is everything pretty much boarded up and sandbagged up there?
Jim, I will say everything is boarded and sandbagged. I have not seen, now there are a couple businesses across the way. I'm not sure if you can see them because the rain's coming down so hard that do not have boards. So Jim, what I will do for you is I'll run across the street. You can take it here. I'll run across the street and see if the water is seeped in where the people have not put sandbags.
Steph, are you there? Did you come back yet?
Jim, I do have an update for you. Yeah. I'm come back. By the way,
okay.
I just spoke to our weather producer. The center of circulation is about 5 miles now from us, okay? So in theory, it should take about another hour to get into it if it's moving 5 miles an hour, right?
Right.
So right around that, just keep that in mind as you're out there.
Yes.
And when I went and looked, you know what I realized, Jim? All the stores here on Front Street, they're tucked back in. So it's a little bit of a saving grace that they're not right on the street, right? They all are kind of tucked in, so they have a little protection. So right now, from what I can see, they're okay.
And that's great news, Stephanie, because, you know, a lot of times when we ask people to evacuate and leave, they will watch us to kind of see what's going on, and it's nice to give them an update.
This tree went down way early on, Jim, when we were just gusting more in that like 60, 70 mile an hour range. So it doesn't take a lot for damage, and this is why, you know, with a Category 1, you still have to board up. You still have to board up and be prepared.
Absolutely. You're right, Steph. It's not so much the wind and how much you get, it's the debris that comes down. And like you said, it came down when long before the wind was 105 miles per hour. Here's what I'm going to say right now. If somebody gets 40, 45 inches, it wouldn't surprise me. What do you think?
Two things, Jim. You know, two things. If this thing does go back fully over water, you know, don't be shocked for this thing to, you know, get its act a little better together, because the eye kind of collapsed when it came on shore, and it does that with the friction. Second of all, Jim, the water you're standing in, is that strictly from rain, or are you getting the river coming out of its banks, or just overwash? What caused that water?
This is rainwater. This is rainwater that's either falling up where you are, probably near where we are, that's trying to get out, and it is.
And that was about 9 or 10 hours ago. We had the landfall of Hurricane Florence there in Myrtle Beach in the Wilmington area with Jim Cantori and Stephanie Abrams. I'm meteorologist Paul Goodlow live in Morehead City, North Carolina, where the assault from Florence continues. Even though it's no longer a hurricane, it's a tropical storm. But on the backside, the winds continue. And I got to tell you, I've been battling the wind and the rain for probably about 30 hours now on the backside. We still have a ways to go tonight. You can see some of the damage around me. The docks, this piece of wood with a felt on it is used to hold the boats up as they pull them out of the water. This debris line is from the surge and the high tide from last night. Had another high tide that washed over. All the dock box has been pushed over because of all the surge. You can see boards from the boardwalk ripped up with the power of the water, and we continue to have some pretty angry waves coming on through the channel here. And the bad news is all this is pushing upriver and backing up the rivers, giving us more flooding across much of this the river country here in eastern North Carolina. So it's an ongoing concern. And look at these boxes. I mean, these are heavy. They're filled with stuff, but no match for the power of the storm surge coming on through here. We have another high tide coming up later on just after midnight, and we could see perhaps more debris and more damage coming on through. It's amazing to think that we'll be dealing with this and the rain, the wind from this for more than 48 hours. We keep talking about how slow it's moving right now at a walking pace. So roughly the center is moving at this pace, 3 miles per hour. That is nothing. And that means we're going to be in the thick of more wind and rain bands here in Morehead City and Beaufort, about a mile away, for all night long and into your Saturday. So perhaps throughout the day on Saturday we should see a slow improvement, but until these winds die down, we can't restore power. Basically the entire county has been without power for about 24 hours now, and we need the wind to wind down before we can get the power restored. So it might be another day before people start getting their power back here across this part of North Carolina. But while we've been in this for a while, they've been in it for maybe half as long as you head down the coast to the Wilmington area where our Alex Wilson is. And Alex, right now here in Morehead City, we're more than 110 miles from the center. You guys are closer, and you're just beginning the wind and the rain there.
Yeah, I mean, this morning things were rocking and rolling. Had our second highest gust ever, 105 miles an hour. That bested Floyd and Fran wind gust here. So some exceptional wind, and you can see plenty of tree damage. Now it's water that's the concern here in Wilmington. That southerly push, we still have gusts at or above 50 miles an hour, and that southerly push is pushing the Cape Fear River from south to north. So water is heading out into the parking lots surrounding the buildings here on Water Street, and with more rain to come, that freshwater flooding will be causing problems as well. So we could be doubling our rainfall record here as far as the tropical system is concerned in the state of North Carolina. You heard Jim and Stephanie mention that in that package. And unfortunately, we are getting new news that this storm has now killed yet another person, 5 deaths. We'll get you more on that as our special coverage of Tropical Storm Florence continues next.
way, she's a rainbow.
The all-new Acura RDX with ELS Studio 3D sound. It's everything we ever imagined, and then some.
Buying a home should be one of life's best experiences. But today's fluctuating interest rates can leave you with unexpected higher payments. And that can turn a great experience into an anxious one. Don't worry, we've got great news. At Quicken Loans, we're bringing the joy back to shopping for a home. We've created a new way to protect you from unpredictable interest rates. Introducing the Power Buying Process, exclusively from Quicken Loans. Here's how it works. We check your income, assets, and credit to give you a verified approval. That verified approval can give you the strength of a cash buyer and makes your offer far more attractive to sellers in today's competitive housing market. And it gets even better. Once verified, you qualify for our exclusive Rate Shield approval. With our Rate Shield approval, you can lock your interest rate before finding your home, so you can take your time and search with confidence. First, we lock your interest rate for up to 90 days while you find your new home. Then, once you've found your new home, if rates have gone up, your rate stays locked. But if rates have gone down, your rate drops, and you get to keep that new lower rate. Either way, you win. And by protecting your interest rate, you're also protecting your monthly mortgage payment. Here's one more reason you'll want to work with us. We're #1 in the nation, according to J.D. Power. For 8 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. Again, it couldn't be simpler. If rates go up, your rate stays the same. But if rates go down, your rate drops. Take the worry out of an unpredictable housing market and gain the peace of mind that comes from knowing your interest rate won't rise. The Quicken Loans Power Buying Process and Rate Shield approval. It's the kind of thinking you'd expect from America's largest mortgage lender. If you're thinking about buying a home, call Quicken Loans or go to rocketmortgage.com today.
This event has a certain vibe. The only thing you pick up here is yourself, your partner, and your honor. Because in Paris, all's fair in love and golf. The Ryder Cup, this September on Golf Channel and NBC. Smashburger!
This Wi-Fi is fast.
I know.
I know.
I know.
I know.
When did Brian move back in?
Brian's back? He doesn't get my room.
He's only going to be here for like a week.
It's like a month. Tops.
Oh boy.
Wi-Fi fast enough for the whole family is simple, easy, awesome.
In many cultures, young men would stay with their families until their 40s.
National hurricane.
All the rain in the forecast created the opportunity for the perfect crime.
Storm of Suspicion premieres October 7th.
Currently in our area, 92 degrees under sunny skies. Tonight, mainly clear, low 58. Winds southwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Saturday, a mainly sunny sky. High 94. Winds east at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Saturday night, clear skies. Low 62. Winds south-southwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Here's our 7-day outlook.
I'm meteorologist Alex Wilson live in Wilmington, where now the problem really becomes the water. Not to say the wind is no longer an issue, still gusting at or above 50 miles an hour at times, but you see the water has been piling up throughout the day. The Cape Fear River now moving south to north. And with rain falling and continuing to do so, water is going to be piling up. And so we could see that surge rainfall inundation. There's the Cape Fear River that I just mentioned. So we've seen as those winds have shifted to a more southerly direction, our flow going the opposite direction than what we saw earlier this week when we were looking at the exact same river. Even yesterday when we had that strong northerly push, very strong north to south movement. But now we've got problems because the river's up, in fact, reached its highest level on record, and that's going to keep the water that falls from being able to move. So we could see that combination of surge and freshwater flooding. Now, Mike Bettis, we're concerned about coastal issues there in Myrtle Beach. We're concerned about inland flooding, and of course, you're still really in it with the strong winds as well.
We definitely have wind here. It's been very gusty for us, Alex, and intense rainfall rates. So there's no question about that. And even though the overall strength of this storm is coming down, we're still going to get incredible gusts here. They're going to cause power outages. I can update you on this. And now in South Carolina, 106,000 customers are without power. So the numbers just keep rising. In addition to the 650,000 that are without power now in North Carolina as well. But these intense rain bands may not let up for another day, which means that we're going to have rainfall rates that may rival our all-time wettest tropical cyclone records in state history, okay? And we know in North Carolina, where we're now forecasting numbers that are higher, we're forecasting maybe 40 inches or more of rain from this system. What that means is, remember, our previous record for tropical cyclone rainfall is 24 inches from Hurricane Florence. That was an epic rain producer. Florence's calling card may end up being catastrophic flooding rain. We've seen in so many areas in North Carolina, which has gone through a really prolonged period of heavy rain and wind. Paul Goodlow was showing you just moments ago, and he's on the backside of the system as it pulls away from him, just how strong the wind and how heavy the rain is on the backside of the system. We're more or less on the front side or just on the southwest side of the center of circulation, and these are the strong winds that we've experienced so far with this. But we do think that we've got ongoing issues with wind and severe weather as well. Meteorologist Mark Elliott is following the tornado risk, which has been ongoing today, Mark, with numerous tornado warnings.
Yeah, and now a little bit further away from where you might assume those tornado warnings were going to take place. All of the risks that Mike was just talking about still in play tonight. Tornado watch mostly over central eastern portions of North Carolina, but a new tornado warning has popped up in the extreme northern side of the outer bands, all the way into Virginia. So let's zoom into southern Virginia for you with a storm that's moving almost due west, close to 30 miles per hour. Tornado warning for Brunswick and Greensville counties until 6:15. And looking at that motion of the raindrops, you can clearly see that couplet right in here. So let's time that out for you. Zooming in and timing it out near Dolphin by about 6:09, Cool Spring by 6:14, and Alberta by 6:21. Again, that warning continues until 6:15, and if it continues on past that area, that's some of the timing for you. We're also watching the storm reports continuing to come in from around our system, mostly in North Carolina for the reports that have started to come in, including here. Tropical storm has created trees down across the county. In Smithfield, several trees down on houses. We've seen flash flooding just east of there in the Goldsboro area. Many roads closed in that region. And extreme southern North Carolina, US 17 now impassable in both directions because of flooding. That's near Old Shallot Road northwest. But US 17 is not a road that you can be on, and for good reason. Mike also mentioned those power problems continuing to increase. The big red on the map here over both of the Carolinas now. I want to zoom in and show you both of those states. North Carolina, 652,000 customers plus at this point, with the worst of the outages right along the southern coastline, but also now expanding further inland. That is a big part of the story and a trend that will likely continue through the rest of the night. And South Carolina is now also picking up on that. Near the coast shore, Horry County, 67,000. But notice all the colors filling in west of there. That power outage is going to continue to march further west. I want to bring in Dr. Knabb because, Dr. Knabb, this wind field on a tropical storm continues to expand. We're going into a tree canopy that isn't the same as what we have at the coastline. And you got to assume that this power outage problem is really going to ramp up starting now.
Yeah, and as the center goes farther inland, more inland folks will be at risk for tropical storm force winds, but you will still have a large enough circulation well into tomorrow where you'll have tropical storm conditions continuing at the coast. So look at this huge area at the coast and inland that's still under a tropical storm warning, and look how far and wide the power outage problem is expected to be likely for just about all of South Carolina and much of North Carolina as well. It is so important to stay safe during surprisingly dangerous, sometimes even deadly power outages. Generators outdoors. Don't use the candles. Stay away from power lines. So critical to stay safe inside. Stay off the roads as well. We'll be back.
With worsening weather patterns, an aging vulnerable power grid, and the growing risk of cyber terrorism, power outages are a part of life now. That can be stressful because we depend on power more than ever. When the power goes out, we lose everything. We can't even charge our smartphones. Now more than ever, you need a Generac automatic home standby generator. With prices starting at just $19.99, you can afford to always have the power you need. With Generac, power stays on in your house, even if you're not at home.
I know that when the power goes out, that Generac is going to kick on and I'm going to have power powering my whole house.
If it's out for 15 minutes or 4 days, we're going to be okay.
We have control over what happens in our lives now.
Generac gives us that peace of mind because it is our power grid.
Call or go online to schedule your free in-home assessment. Generac has more than 5,000 dealers nationwide that will help you select a home standby generator that will meet your needs and fit within your budget. They'll discuss installation and provide you with a comprehensive estimate. It's a totally free assessment with no obligation to buy. Generac's automatic home standby generators start at just $19.99. Special financing is available with affordable monthly payments. Plus, with the Generac mobile link, you can check on your generator anytime from anywhere in the world. With the highest quality construction, exceptional dependability, and state-of-the-art technology, it's easy to see why Generac is the #1 brand of automatic home standby generators in the world. Call or go online to schedule your free in-home assessment. And if you act right now, you'll receive our 7-year extended limited warranty, a $695 value, absolutely free. Control your power and control your life with a Generac automatic home standby generator.
No! It can't be. I'm not ready. I do spin class. What? The refrigerator? Oh, come on. Do you know how much this cost me? You're killing me. Let me rephrase that.
Your refrigerator, air conditioner, water heater will all die sometime. When they do, your homeowner's insurance won't cover them. Be sure your budget's protected with an American Home Shield home warranty. We help cover the cost to repair or replace components of your systems and appliances, no matter their age. Limitations and exclusions apply. Home systems and appliances will eventually die. Count on American Home Shield to get you back up and running.
Oh, the air conditioner too?
For a free quote on flexible plans to meet your budget, call 1-800-330-1264. That's 1-800-330-1264. Be sure with the Shield. American Home Shield.
The sun rose this morning on an extremely dangerous situation, and it's getting worse. The storm is going to continue its violent grind across our state for days and be a major inland event as well.
Tropical Storm Florence may have been downgraded, but still continues to bring beating winds, onshore flow, and heavy rain to parts of the Carolinas, and that's going to be the story as we head through the weekend. So the flood threat is only going up from here, unfortunately. I'm meteorologist Alex Wilson in Wilmington, North Carolina. Meteorologist Mike Bettis is in Myrtle Beach this evening, and we've got Reynolds Wolf, meteorologist, stationed in Charlotte, North Carolina, because yes, we'll be watching for an inland flood threat from Florence as well. Our hurricane expert, Dr. Rick Knabb, is in our Atlanta studios along with meteorologist Mark Elliott. They're going to be bringing you the very latest information on that future track of Florence. But I want to give you the picture here in Wilmington, where not far from here in Wrightsville Beach, Florence came on shore this morning, 7:15, making landfall and bringing with it in Wilmington a 105-mile-per-hour wind gust. So as you can imagine, a lot of debris out there on the ground now, a lot of tree debris. Unfortunately, we had 2 people killed in the Wilmington area when a large tree fell onto a home. So we've seen tree debris of all sizes, and now water will continue to be the threat. We still have winds gusting around, if not a little over 50 miles an hour. With that said, we lost our ASOS at Wilmington Airport, so that's gone offline, so we're not getting any observations at this point. It's also lost contact with the radar, so they're working on that. But what we do know is it has been a record-setting day here in Wilmington. The Cape Fear River, not far from me, got to its highest level on record, and we also saw a record inundation at Wilmington. Rainfall, though, will be the big story moving forward. You know, we've got this push of water up the Cape Fear River, and that's going to keep any of that freshwater flooding from being able to move out into the river. We've got high water there. It's been coming in, heading into parking lots, and now with the possibility of 2 feet or more of rain likely out of this system. Some spots could be up to 30, even 40 inches of rain. We've got some huge problems likely ahead, and that heads down towards the Myrtle Beach area as well. Mike, you're in it as well, wind and the rain. Reynolds in Charlotte, North Carolina, I should say, you're going to be in it. Not as much a wind threat, but boy, rain is going to pile up there. And when you get into western North Carolina, now you also have to bring in the mudslide, the landslide factor.
Oh, there's so many things really to watch and to really be concerned with as we roll forward in time. Let's go now, if we can, to North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper for a moment. He joins us by television, or by telephone, rather. Governor Cooper, you with us, sir?
Yes, I am, Reynolds.
So glad to have you with us. Thinking about your state, your population in excess of some 10 million people. North Carolina, beautiful spot. You've got a lot of tourists here. What is your biggest concern? Obviously, we're seeing the situation really begin to unfold along the coast, but knowing that it's going to spread to the interior and then eventually the Piedmont region, what message would you give the great people of North Carolina?
Well, Florence is slowly and painfully grinding its way through our state. I know that we can endure this and pull through and eventually recover, but the safety of the people of North Carolina is our #1 priority. There's still search and rescue going on at the coast, and we know that inland flooding is going to be epic. With the rains continuing and the rivers rising, local officials will be giving evacuation orders to people who live along the river. One of the good things we've been able to do is strategically map out where flooding is likely to occur, and we're going to have some places that really have not seen flooding that are actually going to get flooded. Another message to the people of North Carolina is that those who have evacuated and who are now either in shelters or with friends, family, or in hotels, there's a great desire to want to go back to the coast and to check on your property. Do not do this. There's still search and rescue going on there. We know that many roads have been closed and that there is significant flooding happening. Utility companies soon will be getting into the field to try and restore power, and we want them to be able to safely do it. So we're asking people not to go back home until they get the all clear.
Governor, a quick question for you. Sometimes when it comes to weather, things can be deceiving. We understand, we see it's palatable, the conditions that we have along the coast in terms of the wind, the storm surge, the flooding. But for people, say, in Charlotte, right now, all we have is a faint breeze. In parts of the western corners of the state, not much happening at all, but things are coming. What would you tell people to keep them from getting into a false sense of security?
This storm is moving slowly. And if it hasn't gotten to you yet, it will in one way or another. This storm is so massive that most everybody will be affected by this storm in North Carolina in one way or another. Across the sandhills to Charlotte, we can see some flooding that we haven't seen before. And in western North Carolina, we are concerned with rock slides and mudslides and the damaging rain that will occur there. I wish you guys could do something there to move the storm on out of here, but it's very frustrating and excruciating to see how long it's staying and how much rain it's dumping on our state. But this storm is on the way west, and we know it will affect a lot of people out there as well.
Governor Cooper, as you know very well, there are different stages to events like this. You have, well, stage one, the onslaught that we're dealing with now. Then you have, of course, more of the active situation as it spreads across the state. But then you have to also look farther ahead, farther downstream for the aftermath. Eventually, these winds are going to die down. Eventually, the rain is going to stop. The floodwaters are going to recede. But then there's a massive problem that we're going to be facing in terms of cleanup. How are you prepared for things long term?
We know that it's going to take an incredible amount of resources and teamwork to get these communities back on their feet. When the cameras go away and people forget about it, that's when it becomes really the toughest time, because not only do you have to repair roads and bridges and water systems and infrastructure, you also have to get businesses back on their feet and people back into their homes. We know that affordable housing is a challenge even without disasters and storms. And when you have these kinds of floods, it's often the people who can afford it the least who get hit the most. And so we got a lot ahead of us, but I do believe that we can meet the challenge. We've got a team in place that can help us. We're going to rely a lot on federal help, but we know that our state legislature will step up, and we know that the private and nonprofit arena and faith-based communities are going to be coming out and helping people to recover and rebuild. North Carolinians help each other. We depend on each other, and I know that our state is going to emerge from this eventually even better than ever. And I feel very positive about that.
Governor Cooper, one last question, then we'll let you go. We know it's been a long day for you. It's been a long, it's been, again, I can imagine exhausting. Final question for you is, you've got eyes from every corner of America that are watching what's happening here in the Tar Heel State. What would you want America to know about the resiliency of the people of this fine state?
North Carolina is a beacon in the South. We have people here who know how to endure tough times, and we have a state that truly believes in education and health care and growing our economy. And we will get over this. I also want to tell the rest of the country, thank you. We've had 23 states to send us help and teams of people and personnel and equipment, and I'm very grateful to them for stepping up. Met with search and rescue teams from Ohio and New Jersey and New York. We've had personnel from as far away as California. This is Americans pulling together. They saw North Carolina was in trouble. They sent people to help. And over the years, North Carolina has done the same thing in kind to other states. We have gone and helped them through their struggles. It's about pulling together, and we're grateful for the rest of the country for the help that you've given us, and we're going to get through this.
Governor Roy Cooper of the great state of North Carolina. Governor, thank you so much for your time. We wish you the very best. America, he really put it in wonderful words. I mean, this country truly unifies in sometimes the darkest moments as the winds roar. We're going to make our way back to the roaring wind, back to the coast. That's where we find Mike Bettis. Mike, again, give us the latest. What a day it's been for so many people that call this great region home.
Yeah, been an incredible day here in Myrtle Beach as things really started to ramp up for us around 10 o'clock this morning, and really have not relented throughout the day with incredible wind, wind gusting officially at the airport at 55, although I'm almost going to guarantee you there'll be pockets of higher wind gusts than that here along the Grand Strand. I think our wind gusts here, I'd estimate them to be about 75 at their peak. But the heavy rain is just going to continue to build here. We're getting closer and closer to that center of circulation. That's why the winds haven't backed off all that much for us here. But We're hopeful that we'll have more of an inland track than down along the coastline. If that's the case, we'll continue to see some gradual weakening with Tropical Storm Florence, and that'd be a really great sign, although I don't think that the rain's going to back off at all. Knowing that we're now forecasting more than 40 inches in North Carolina, we'll break all-time tropical cyclone rainfall records in North Carolina, and we could do that in South Carolina as well. It's all going to depend on where the heaviest rain bands ultimately set up, what the forward speed ends up being. Do we continue with this really slow motion, 5 miles per hour or slower here, and could that happen for the next day or so? It's very, very possible. And so for those of you that are watching right now, a couple things to keep in mind. The flooding is only going to get worse from here on out because the rain's not going to let up that much, all right? If any. That'll happen through the evening and through the overnight. You wake up tomorrow morning, you might see water in your neighborhood. The thing about the winds is those should start to gradually die down here. The strongest of the winds will likely be this evening and through the overnight. Then tomorrow, as the system begins to pull away, we should start to see those winds back off some, but I think the damage will have been done by then. We already have 106,000 customers here in South Carolina that have lost power, and I think those numbers go up because things stay very, very gusty here for us for at least the next 10 to 12 hours, if not maybe even beyond that. As far as what's happening here around me, we put ourselves in a pretty good location where we're not really by anything we think that would really break or where we'd have flying debris or anything like that. A lot of pine trees here, palmetto trees, and they've done very, very well, okay? Maybe just a few palm fronds here or there, maybe a little bit of the bark of the skins off the trees that have come down. One thing I've been watching is just minor stuff at this point, and that's good. There's a building behind me here. You got glass doors and windows here. It's fared okay, even though it's taken the full brunt of the wind. Gutters have been bouncing up there. They've got the wood shakes on the roof there, and some of those have peeled off. Really, really minor stuff when you consider the overall impact of this storm. The one thing that we are noticing more of, and I think this is going to be a really big issue for us, is this parking lot slowly slopes, and as it does, the water's going to start to pile up here, and it already is. You look down here, and I'll just briefly walk in a little bit of this. You can see here, and I can splash in this, how the water's now starting to pile up here on the edge of this parking lot, okay? So, Dr. Nab, to me, yeah, the winds, short term, will be an issue. I think the longer term issue, as you have harped on now for the better part of a week, is what happens with the rain. It's not going to stop for many folks here, and the rain water is just going to continue to rise.
It is, Mike, and I want to encourage folks in the Myrtle Beach, North Myrtle Beach area to pay attention to what we can talk about here about how long this will last, even as it goes farther inland, because you've got these tropical storm warnings that are still in effect for a large area, including so much of South Carolina. Now, one of the reasons why it's still in effect in coastal areas of South Carolina, and probably will be for a while, this forecast for tomorrow afternoon of the center being between Myrtle Beach and Columbia, but the maximum winds being 45 miles an hour, there's a good chance those winds are over the water and coming into the coast. So, Mike, even as the center gets farther and farther inland away from you, the strongest winds in the storm will be aimed pretty much right on shore to where you are. So you could be the windiest place for the balance of the next day or more, even as it goes farther inland.
You know, Dr. Nab, the question, though, is how significant will those gusts be? You know, I look at all the factors that can go into that. The one thing that's most concerning to me is how saturated the ground is now, all right? And how much water there is down into the ground, and the roots don't have as much to hold on to. Could we, through the night, see even more power outages or more trees that go down, blocking more roadways, trapping more people in their neighborhoods?
Yes, and especially as the wind direction changes, and some folks who are really close to the coastline or have some exposure to the ocean, you're going to get more and more of an onshore flow the farther this goes past you and goes farther inland. And so when wind direction changes and you've got sustained winds of tropical storm force above 40 and 50 miles an hour, the gusts could still be to hurricane force, and those can still cause damage and take down power lines and trees that haven't gone down in the first half of this storm as it passes you by.
Yeah. I think maybe the ultimate takeaway here is, well, this thing is a long way from over, right? We're going to have issues that go right through the weekend, unfortunately. Wind and rain, the biggest issues with storm surge still not off the table. More coverage of Florence when we come back right here on the Weather Channel.
Make a smart choice. Replace one meal or snack a day with Glucerna, made with Carb Steady to help manage blood sugar and end the day with a smile. Glucerna, everyday progress.
Allergies with sinus congestion and pressure? You won't find relief here. Go to the pharmacy counter for powerful Claritin D, while the leading allergy spray relieves 6 symptoms. Claritin D relieves 8, including sinus congestion and pressure. Claritin D relieves more.
The moment you realize you're lucky your backyard is in the back.
At Lowe's, we have everything you need to keep your yard looking great. Shop Lowe's and get 4 one-quart mums for $10.
Peeling hard-boiled eggs is such a hassle and makes a mess. Now there's Egglets, the silicone sensation that cooks hard-boiled eggs without the shell. Just prep, crack the egg into the pod, twist on the top, and boil. Pop out perfect hard-boiled eggs. No hassle, no mess. The thermodynamic silicone cooks the egg like it's inside the shell. Make delicious omelets, and it's perfect for soft-boiled eggs too. Get Egglets today at these fine retailers.
Promote what makes your business great with Vistaprint. Whether it's a business card, a banner, or a postcard, we have the paper stocks, sizes, and design options to create marketing that's right for your business. Give it a try with 500 standard business cards starting at just $9.99 when you use code VP500 at Vistaprint.com.
Everyone age 65 and older needs to hear it. The flu and its complications can be deadly, especially for those with a chronic medical condition. Ask your healthcare provider for a senior flu shot. Do it today before the flu becomes an emergency.
Fact is, every insurance company hopes you drive safely. But Allstate actually helps you drive safely with DriveWise. It lets you know when you go too fast and brake too hard, with feedback to help you drive safer, giving you the power to actually lower your cost. Unfortunately, you can't do anything about that. Now that you know the truth, are you in good hands?
Season after season, Tim Neville isn't like other politicians at the Capitol. They bicker. He works. Tim Neville works hard for us. Neville works hard to prioritize funding for roads and schools. Tim Neville works hard to keep the big spenders in check. No more taxes on working folks. We pay enough. Tim Neville is standing up for law enforcement. He's laser focused on keeping our schools safe. Tim Neville isn't like the other politicians. While they bicker, Neville works hard for you and me.
Furnace breakdown, that could be $3,300. Fridge on a Fritz, that could cost you $2,500. Get the First American Home Warranty Plan. And when a covered item breaks, call or click. That's it. And we'll repair or replace it for you. Why let a major system or appliance breakdown bust your budget? Or go through the hassle of trying to find trustworthy service people?
If you don't have First American Warranty, get it.
Call 1-800-860-4881 for a free no-obligation quote.
Weather Network on cable
When this much rain falls, it is a life-threatening situation.
is the most essential coverage on TV.
Currently in our area, 92 degrees under sunny skies. Tonight, generally clear. Low 59. Winds south-southwest at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Saturday, sunny skies. High 94. West-southwest winds shifting to east at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Saturday night, a mostly clear sky. Low 63. Winds south-southwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Here's our 7-day outlook.
All risks continue tonight from Florence, including a tornado threat well away from the center of our storm. We're talking the extreme outer bands all the way into southern Virginia. Been following this cell as it makes its way almost due west, and it's basically right on top of I-85 as we speak, with the rotating component on the eastern side of the cell, so not yet over I-85. There's that couplet, the reds and greens next to each other, near or just south of Alberta. So timing this out for you near Brooks School by about 6:25 and continuing to Bacon's Fork by 6:40. Want to update you on what else we know with this storm. The latest on now Tropical Storm Florence, as it made its first landfall at 7:15 this morning near Wrightsville Beach, North Carolina. At least 5 people are dead, including a mother and infant that were killed when a tree fell on their house. At the latest check, roughly 840,000 people are without power across North and South Carolina. Want to show you that map. Obviously, the red states popping out very dramatically. The Carolinas with huge numbers. Not only do we have a big power outage issue near the coast, which you would assume would be the case, but also the power outages are really increasing now over central sections of the state. As those outer bands have gotten there, Wake County now jumping into 47,000 outages, and also watching South Carolina outages on the increase, 106,000 plus customers there. Let's go back to Alex Wilson monitoring this storm. Alex, you know, these bands have a lot of strength with them, including well away from that center.
Right, yeah, and we are back in it to win it with the wind. You know, we had the strongest winds at 105-mile-per-hour gusts here in Wilmington this morning. Had a bit of a relaxation to the winds. They were still strong, but not quite as strong as they are once again. So once again, dealing with those strong gusts. We, of course, got the Cape Fear River now moving south to north, thanks to that strong southerly push of wind. Now that continues, and so we've seen parking lots and other areas get inundated by the water. Here you can see this low spot was much higher earlier, and we anticipate that it will once again rise because of more heavy rain that is to come. So we've got that onshore push of the Cape Fear River. Then we've got heavy rain coming down. We could be measuring on the order of feet. We're thinking at least 2 feet, if not 30, up to 40 plus inches of rain. So that means that water's going to have nowhere to go. It can't go into the river. The river's pushing onshore, so we're going to have a pileup of water. And unfortunately, that looks to be a prolonged issue with heavy rain this evening into tomorrow and even into the second half of our weekend. Mike Bettis is down in Myrtle Beach. And Mike, I know it's a similar story for you. You've been getting pounded by the winds today. And then, of course, we shift into a prolonged flood danger as well as the onshore danger.
Yeah, it's going to depend on the exact track here, but we think as Florence goes by us, we're going to get the backside of this with an onshore flow, which then at the end of this, for a place like Myrtle Beach, brings the storm surge, where generally we feel like the first impact you should get is the storm surge, but not in this particular case, just because of the movement of Florence and how the coastline is aligned here in Myrtle Beach. All right, so that's not been an issue. All the surge has been out, okay? So it's gone away from the coast. Zero surge for us today, but the wind and the rain have been relentless for about 8 hours now, okay? Still coming down, a heavy rain at this point, horizontal rain at this point, rainfall rates that are about 2 to 3 inches an hour in some of the heaviest pockets. It's causing at least minor issues at our location. Here it'll cause bigger issues in low-lying neighborhoods. Show you this down here is this is a sloped parking lot, okay? And this slopes down actually toward the beach. And you can see that as the rain is pushing from basically behind the camera in this direction, it's also pushing a lot of the rain down the parking lot. And it's really starting to fill up down here at the bottom. You see that? Now we're starting to see floating debris. I'm not going to go down into that. I just don't like to be in that murky water. Wouldn't recommend that you get out in any of this flood water either, unless it's a life-threatening situation and you think you can make it through, you know, ankle or knee-deep water to get to a safer location. But I would almost all circumstances say avoid being in the flood water at all costs. As far as the power outages go, going up incrementally here through the day today. 109,000 customers now in South Carolina are without power, so the numbers just keep going up as the winds haven't backed off all that much, and they'll continue to be gusty and they'll continue to spread, okay? Now, Horry County, where we are, by far has the most outages of any of the counties in South Carolina, accounting for about 70% of the outages in the state right now. But there's going to come a point here in Horry County where there may be no more power to lose. Everyone will have lost power already, so it'll spread to other counties as Florence itself pushes its way inland and spreads its winds inland or down the coast as well. So all those things are still on the table for us through the remainder of the evening, and then we know that going inland will spread the rain, will spread the wind. We won't have surge issues necessarily. You will get some surge issues into some of the river inlets, so that's something that we'll have to watch. But big concerns here in the Grand Strand about, say, Conway or Marion, but I'll look at the Waccamaw River, okay, and then down toward the intercoastal. How much water will we be able to drain away from those river basins and out to the Atlantic Ocean if we're getting tremendous rainfall rates or we're getting any onshore flow that pushes the water back up the Waccamaw? All these things still to be determined, but hugely impactful storm force right now as Florence surges on.
I know it's hard, Maddie, but I promise it's gonna get better.
So whenever you're losing, I'll celebrate you, appreciate you.
Racing isn't the only thing on my mind. And with GoDaddy, I'm making my ideas real. With GoDaddy, you can get a website to sell online, and it will look good. I made my own way. Now it's time to make yours.
Just like it should.
When you're looking for answers, it's good to have help, because the right information at the right time may make all the difference. At Humana, we know that's especially true when you're looking for a Medicare supplement insurance plan. That's why we're offering this fact-filled guide, 7 things every Medicare supplement should have. And it's yours free, just for calling 1-888-303-1840. You see, Medicare covers only about 80% of your Part B medical expenses. The rest is up to you. That's why so many people purchase Medicare supplement insurance plans like those offered by Humana. They're designed to help you save money and pay some of the costs Medicare doesn't. Depending on the Medicare supplement plan you select, you could have no deductibles or copayments for doctor visits, hospital stays, emergency care, and more. You can keep the doctors you have now, ones you know and trust, with no referrals needed. Plus, you can get medical care anywhere in the country, even when you're traveling. With Humana, you get a competitive monthly premium and personalized service from a healthcare partner working to make healthcare simpler and easier for you. You can choose from a wide range of standardized plans. Each one is designed to work seamlessly with Medicare and help save you money. So how do you find the plan that's right for you, one that fits your needs and your budget? Call Humana now at 1-888-303-1840. That's 1-888-303-1840 for this free guide. It's just one of the ways that Humana is making healthcare simpler. And when you call, a knowledgeable licensed agent producer can answer any questions you have and help you choose the plan that's right for you. The call is free and there's no obligation. You know Medicare won't cover all your medical costs, so call now and see why a Medicare supplement plan from a company like Humana just might be the answer.
I'm Chris, and I lost 120 pounds on Nutrisystem.
Introducing Nutrisystem for Men. For a limited time, save 40% off every program.
It's so simple. You eat the food, you lose the weight.
Lose up to 18 pounds and 8 inches overall your first month. Lose weight fast. Money back guaranteed.
I lost 10 pounds my first week.
I lost 20 pounds the first month.
I lost 105 pounds eating pizza, ice cream, burgers.
It's not that hard. You eat the food,
and you lose the weight.
Order now and save 40% off every program. Plus, get 1 week of all new NutriPro shakes, packed with 20 grams of protein to help shrink your gut. Free.
I love the food. The meals are so satisfying.
The food is perfect for guys like me who don't like to cook.
It's not that hard, buddy. You eat the food,
you lose the weight.
You eat the food, you lose the weight. That's what guys want. Keeping it simple.
Go online or call 888-634-DIET and get free shakes plus save 40% off every program.
Closed captioning brought to you by Grown in Idaho Super Crispy Fries.
New Super Crispy Grown in Idaho frozen fries. Bake up crispy on the outside and tender on the inside. Grown in Idaho Super Crispy Fries. Mmm, super crispy.
This is not the end of it.
24 to 36 hours remain of a significant threat.
Don't be led into a false sense of security here. It's going to rain again. It's going to rain real heavy.
And unfortunately, that heavy rain threat will continue. Welcome back to our continuing coverage of Florence. You're looking at live team coverage out in the field, including our own Mike Bettis. He's in Myrtle Beach. Alex Wilson bringing coverage from Wilmington, North Carolina, featuring Reynolds Wolf in Charlotte, and of course our own expert, Dr. Rick Knabb, here in the lab along with me. As we continue on with a lot of real impacts from this storm, not only are we talking about coastal impacts, the surge that will continue, the onshore float that could potentially continue through the weekend, but we're talking about inland flooding, which will continue to be a big threat. I want to bring in Dr. Knabb, who's looking at all of those impacts. And Dr. Knabb, we are not done by a long shot. Days to go with real life-threatening impacts here.
We do, and I'm really concerned about the short-term life safety of people dealing with the flash flood issue, as well as with the long-term catastrophic flooding event that appears to be unfolding before our eyes with Florence. Now, let me talk to some folks, not just in the Carolinas, but in Texas, where we have another one of these systems that doesn't look like it's ever going to get a name, but is providing plenty of moisture and focusing some very heavy rainfall. And look at all the rains coming into deep South Texas, into the Hill Country, even Southeast Texas. And now in the metropolitan Corpus Christi area, there's a flash flood warning in effect until 8:15 p.m. Central Time. There's much more moisture on the way, and this might just be the beginning of a multi-day, weekend-long event that could spread farther inland. So again, turn around, don't drown applies not just in North Carolina, but in Texas. And look at all of these warnings. I don't know if I've ever seen so many flash flood warnings over such a continuous expanse of land. This is really something. And the warnings continue to expand westward, okay? So if you've just started to get some rain somewhere between the coastal area and Charlotte, for example, or just west of Raleigh, it's coming your way. And it's as the storm moves farther west, we will see these flash flood warnings continue to extend farther and farther inland. And this is also a combined saltwater freshwater problem still, because in places like North Myrtle Beach, in places like Wilmington, North Carolina, as the storm moves farther to the west, you'll continue to have the rainfall, continue to have the flash flood warning being issued, but also more and more of an onshore push. So that means, Mike, that the combination of the heavy rainfall causing flooding and rivers to rise, they can't drain out into the Atlantic as the surge keeps the water levels higher. So there's still that combination that could flood the area near the coast more than people realize, and that will be maximized starting tomorrow when you get the onshore push.
It's a problem, Dr. Knabb. I mean, we think about what happens here in Myrtle Beach, as you just so expertly explained there. It could be an ongoing problem. You think, okay, well, the rain may taper off some tomorrow, but if that shift in wind direction means anything, it means we don't get the water out of here as effectively as we want to. And keep this other thing in mind, at least through the night tonight, okay? The winds will still be significant. I know overall the strength of the system has decreased. We're down to a 70-mile-per-hour tropical storm. That doesn't mean that even short bursts, just seconds of gusts, can't do damage. You don't need a prolonged, hour-long wind to cause damage. You can do some of your worst damage in the brief little gusts that are 70 or 80 miles an hour, right? And that's enough to take down a tree real quick. It falls into a power line, and that comes down and knocks out electricity to an entire neighborhood. Or it's just putting trees down on roadways, and that just makes the work that much harder after the fact, because then crews have to come in, and it's a really hard task getting there with chainsaws and heavy equipment, clearing out the streets, and then you can get first responders in, and then you can get utility workers in to help restore power. This could go on for days after the weather improves, but for tonight, it's all about the weather. It's all about being where you are and being safe. whether it's in a shelter, whether it's in your home, whether it's somewhere where you evacuated well inland and you're watching us tonight, wanting to know what's going on in your hometown. Everything's still on the table, Alex Wilson. We're not taking anything off the table here in South Carolina, and knowing how many people are without power, that's a little disconcerting right now, considering how many more hours of this we have to go. Wouldn't be surprised if the numbers here in South Carolina double, triple, quadruple before the night is over.
Yeah, and that's half the battle. You know, you get blasted by those strong winds for so long, and the power outages just add up. Our coverage of Tropical Storm Florence will continue from Wilmington, Myrtle Beach, right after this.
Your hair is so soft. Did you use Head & Shoulders 2-in-1?
I did, Mom. Want to try it?
Yes.
It intensely moisturizes your hair and scalp and keeps you flake-free.
Manolo, look at my soft hair. I should be in the shot now, too. Try Head & Shoulders 2-in-1.
Please allow me to introduce myself. I'm a man of wealth and taste. Pleased to meet you. Hope you guess my name. Come on, come on. What's my name? What's my name? What's my
They are some of the hottest videos on social media. Those videos claiming to instantly get rid of bags under your eyes. Well, today we're going to see one for ourselves and let you be the judge. It's called Plexiderm, and lifestyle expert Annette Figueroa is here to tell us why she says this one is for real.
This one is for real, and I'm so excited. We even have a video that the viewers can watch while you and I talk, and you'll notice the model has bags underneath his eyes and some sagging, and all he uses is a small amount, and that's how easy it is.
All right, what's the active ingredient?
Okay, so it's silicates that are minerals found in shale rock, and what it does is it tightens and lifts the appearance of bags underneath your eyes, and as little as 10 minutes, no prescriptions, and very little effort. And I did this to my father. We were at home, and we were screaming. 4 minutes, 34 seconds, completely gone.
My real true opinion is wholly words I can't say on camera. These lines bother me. They really do. And this is absolutely unbelievable. I mean, I could feel it just lifting my skin. It feels great. Looks even better.
Hi guys, my name is Sandy Marinese. I'm a professional hair and makeup artist, and one of the #1 question that I always get in my chair is, can you make me look younger? So we had a few people that we applied it to, and some of them at first I was like, oh, I don't know if this is gonna work. And I was so impressed how fast and how well it really worked. Now I could really say to people, yes, I can make you look younger.
And not only does it work on the bags, it works on the appearance of crow's feet, fine lines, and wrinkles. So it targets all those problem areas.
So this would be a daily thing, or just when you want to like get rid of the bags? And
Yeah,
you would
it absolutely could be a daily thing. You have high school reunions, you have events you want to go to, you want to look years younger, this is it.
Plexiderm has a special offer for you. Right now, you can get Plexiderm for up to 50% off, plus get free shipping. Order yours at plexiderm.com or call the number on your screen.
I'm proof. Jenny Craig works.
Introducing Rapid Results. Lose up to 16 pounds in just 4 weeks and see real results with a weight loss expert and chef-crafted food. Lose 16 pounds for $16 plus the cost of food and get $120 in free food.
John Tyson's motto was, when better chickens are hatched, we will hatch them. It's why all of the Tyson chicken that bears his name is raised with no antibiotics ever. Every nugget, strip, and drumstick. Keep it real. Keep it Tyson.
Well, here in Wilmington, North Carolina, the threat beginning to make that shift from wind to water. Not to say we're done with the wind. They're still gusting 50-plus miles an hour at times, but water will be the problem. And here on Water Street, obviously named because of its proximity, you know, you would expect the potential for some water to pile up, but take a look at how much. And this is actually not the highest we've seen it today. That water has been pushed on shore thanks to the Cape Fear River that flows south to north with our southeasterly wind flow. And now, as the rain continues to fall, that water's piling up with nowhere to go. And the rainfall rates are staying high, 1 to 3 inches per hour. And we think by the time we're done with this storm, with now Tropical Storm Florence, parts of eastern North Carolina could be looking at the possibility of 40 or more inches of rain. The current state record for rain from a tropical system, just over 24 inches. We could possibly double that from Florence. So we think not only will we break it, but we'll smash that record. That record, by the way, from Floyd. And here in Wilmington earlier today, a 105-mile-per-hour gust. That bested gusts from both Floyd in '99 and Fran. So this one will be a notable one here in Wilmington history. You know, Mike, we talk about just the long-lasting wind, the duration of the winds. And that's really, I think, allowed those power outages to continue to creep up. You know, after those trees, they take a beating for so long. You know, 1 hour to get through the strong winds is one thing, but when we're talking about 6, 12 plus hours, eventually they topple down and even more power outages are happening.
You know, you feel like oftentimes with a landfalling system like this, it comes in, accelerates inland, and it's gone. Boy, that has not been the case. A really unprecedented track with Florence, that's for sure. And this is why we've gone through this for hours now. The winds picked up here in Myrtle Beach around 10 o'clock this morning, and they really have hardly backed off since. So now we're talking here, what, about 8.5 hours of really pounding wind and rain here in Myrtle Beach. Now, we do think that the winds gradually will start to taper for us, okay? Although they'll start to change direction. As Paul Goodlow had pointed out, if you'd watched this afternoon, that his winds had done a 180-degree change on him. Our winds are predominantly out of the north or northwest today, okay? Tomorrow, as we get this storm to pass by us, we're likely going to see our winds turn then out of the southeast, and all the rain will be coming in this direction instead of in this direction. Now, that could play some role in additional power outages depending on the strength of those winds because, you know, maybe you've weakened a root system and a tree maybe is leaning in this direction, then you're going to lean it back the other way and over it goes, right? So a lot of different things that could still happen and unfold here in a place like the Grand Strand, where we now have in South Carolina about 110,000 customers without power. Again, astonishing how quickly these numbers are going to go up today. They've already gone up pretty quickly with 6-digit numbers, unfortunately. But overall, the one thing we should ultimately concern ourselves with is how much potentially deadly flooding is coming our way. Dr. Knabb, I have to say, you've been talking about this for at least a week with Florence, with the possibility of a slow-moving storm, a la Harvey, right? This is going to be potentially the wettest tropical cyclone the Carolinas have ever seen. And we're going to see unprecedented flooding, things that we never thought possible before because there was never a precedent for it.
And because in some places there's the combination of storm surge, saltwater flooding, and river flooding, and freshwater flooding, all kind of combining to inundate places perhaps catastrophically. And we've seen some really stunning storm surge video. I want to show you this from Carolina Beach, and look at what happens when you have storm surge occurring at the immediate beachfront, because this is when the waves are battering on top of the storm surge. So, you know, say you have a 3 or 4 or 5 foot storm surge, so the height of the water above ground is higher than usual, but then on top of that is when you get the wave action. And we haven't seen everything that the storm surge and the waves on top of it have done to the Outer Banks and other communities right on the Atlantic coast, and we're not done yet. Look at how much more storm surge could occur as we continue to have that onshore push, and we get to high tide around midnight tonight, and the waves keep crashing ashore. And it's also the fresh water that continues to be devastating and getting more and more dangerous than it had already been. And so let's take a look at what's going on with this particular primary band far, far away from the center. And it's going over the New Bern area on the way into Johnston and Wayne counties. And this particular flash flood warning that's in effect until 10 p.m. Eastern time is a flash flood emergency. Nearly a foot of rain has already fallen, and there are numerous water rescues going on right now. And so this is the case where it's not just turn around, don't drown. It's even more than that. If you're trapped in your home, you got to call 911. You don't want to get in the vehicle and then drive to your death. You've got to be sheltering in place, and then if you feel like your life is threatened, you got to call 911. Hopefully someone can come rescue you. And this is why the state of North Carolina pre-positioned help from other states to do swift water rescues. So this is one of the many, many flash flood warnings that are in effect, and I suspect that a lot of these flash flood warnings will be upgraded to flash flood emergencies. Again, this is in the Brogdon, Goldsboro, Smithfield area, and we will continue our team coverage at the coast and inland as wind and water continues to rage in the Carolinas. Stay with us.
My gums are irritated. I don't have to worry about that, do I?
Actually, you do. Harmful bacteria lurk just below the gum line.
Crest Gum Detoxify works below the gum line to neutralize harmful plaque bacteria and help reverse early gum damage. And now there's new Crest Gum and Enamel Repair. It gives you clinically proven healthier gums and helps repair and strengthen weakened enamel. Gum Detoxify and Gum and Enamel Repair. From Crest.
Gums are good. So is my checkup.
Crest. Healthy, beautiful smiles for life.
We asked our customers, why is Consumer Cellular your choice in wireless?
So what do you like about Consumer Cellular?
Consumer Cellular is the best value. It's a fabulous service, great price.
Consumer Cellular helps me save money. Plans start at only $15 a month, and unlimited talk and text is just $25 a month.
It's simple and easy.
It is reliable.
I like the fact that there are no contracts.
Simple, reliable, and no contracts.
It's the ease of getting the phones, using the phones, and for people of our generation, that's really important because we're not always tech savvy.
I have a smartphone because my granddaughter said I had to have one.
I still have a flip phone, but that's okay.
Choose a phone that fits your needs.
Consumer Cellular checks to make sure that the plan fits you, who you are.
Well, I try to be honest and trustworthy, and I also think Consumer Cellular works that way as a company. I trust them.
They share the same values.
Stop paying too much for wireless service. Switch to Consumer Cellular and start saving today.
With Consumer Cellular, I'm only paying for what I need.
By moving to Consumer Cellular, my cost is 50% less than it was.
I have everything I want with Consumer Cellular.
I get a discount through AARP, which makes me happy.
AARP members get exclusive discounts.
Their customer service is fabulous.
Customers are their #1 priority.
I really feel like they take care of me.
There's not another provider in the industry that has the customer service that Consumer Cellular does.
We're proud to receive the J.D. Power Award for highest customer service 5 times in a row.
It's easy to switch.
You could use your own phone and you could use your own number. Wild horses wouldn't drag me away from Consumer Cellular.
Go with Consumer Cellular.
You're going to save a lot of money.
Switch today, and for a limited time, get your first month of service free. Call 1-800-462-7095. Go online or visit a Target store today.
You got to look into it. You should be with Consumer Cellular.
Christine Jensen, a can-do Coloradan running for Colorado Senate. Christine Jensen was raised in Wheat Ridge. She built a small business in Arvada. Now, Christine is running to give back to the communities that gave her so much. Christine's agenda? Better pay for teachers. Push policies that address the affordable housing crisis. Christine Jensen will use her business background to cut waste and rein in spending. Christine Jensen, a can-do Coloradan we can count on. Christine Jensen, she is Jefferson County.
Sunday night, we're bringing you a matchup of epic proportions because you can't close out the summer without one final blockbuster. This game has it all. The stars.
What a night for this guy.
The action. And plenty of thrills.
That's insane.
So get the popcorn ready. All eyes on the blockbuster. All eyes on Giants Cowboys on Sunday night.
News for National Hurricane.
All the rain in the forecast created the opportunity for the perfect crime.
Storm of Suspicion premieres October 7th.
Currently in our area, 91 degrees under sunny skies. Tonight, generally clear. Low 59. Winds south-southwest at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Saturday, sunny skies. High 94. West-southwest winds shifting to east at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Saturday night, a mostly clear sky. Low 63. Winds south-southwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Here's our 7-day outlook.
You are looking at live cameras from the coastal Carolinas as Florence continues to make its presence felt in a big way. A tropical storm at this point, but still bringing battering winds, onshore flow, and torrential downpours across the state of North Carolina. In recent years, of course, Hurricane Matthew left a legacy of flooding, and now Florence has outdone Matthew in terms of rainfall. We've now seen a higher total from Florence than the highest total that was just over 18 inches out of Hurricane Matthew in October of 2016. So Florence proving to be a more prolific rainmaker. Will it be a more prolific floodmaker? We think that's very well in contention as we go through the next day or two, not just here in coastal communities, but also for areas farther inland. And we've got Reynolds Wolf. We'll check in with him. He's in Charlotte. You know, inland, you've got to talk about river flooding. You've got to talk about mudslides and landslides. A little different scenario here in Wilmington because we've been looking at the Cape Fear River, and you can see the white caps. And what you may be noticing is if you were watching us yesterday or especially on Wednesday, the water was going from north to south then, but now moving from south to north. We've got a very strong south-southeasterly wind, and that's bringing that very strong onshore push. And this is something that Dr. Knabb has been so very concerned about as we've gone into this event. You've got that persistent onshore flow, but then you've got the heavy rain coming down. So basically you've got water from one direction, water from the sky, and just too much water to drain out. And that water's piling up and will continue to do so. So we think flooding will be a lasting legacy here in the Wilmington area as well as other parts of eastern North Carolina. We believe that we're going to measure this rainfall in feet. Forecast for over 24 inches here across southeastern North Carolina, but it's very much in the realm of possibility that we could be looking at 30, 40 plus inches of rain. And Mike, you know, we say those numbers, one thing, and equally astounding to say them, but, you know, also gives you pause because you know what that kind of rain's going to do to a community.
Well, you think that if those numbers are realized, it'll be devastating, but you don't know exactly where that place is going to be, right? It's just going to depend on where the heaviest band sets up, unfortunately, and how long you're in it, right? We think that the heavy rain is going to become an issue for us in South Carolina as well. Here in Myrtle Beach, it's been an onslaught of wind and rain all day long today, and we waited tirelessly for days. Listen, this was an incredibly efficient evacuation that they did here. Myrtle Beach was a ghost town 2 days ago, okay? So it was great to see that everyone got out of harm's way. What we're dealing with right now are power outages that are really mounting here in South Carolina. We've now got more than 110,000 customers without power. The rain has been non-stop for us here, unfortunately. So it's a wind-driven rain, and we're starting to see some flooding around town. Here's the deal. We've got 70 shelters open in South Carolina, housing about 6,300 people right now. And we're a long way from this storm system being over because it's moving so torturously slow, which means you stay in the winds for a longer period of time. It means you stay in the rain for a longer period of time. We're going to get the winds gradually to die down, but we're still going to be, when you're close to the center, in some pretty strong gusty winds, which are still going to take down power lines and trees. And the rain itself is going to be an ongoing issue well beyond the wind, okay? We could be in that rain for another 2 days, unfortunately. The last thing that we may contend with here, though, in Myrtle Beach is storm surge. Let's bring in our hurricane expert, Dr. Rick Knabb, to talk about that as well. Dr. Knabb, what may happen with this, as Florence pulls away, we get the onshore flow on the backside as the storm pulls away. Will that, in essence, minimize the deadly impacts of storm surge? But I feel like it'll be less than if it was a right front quadrant storm surge than a back quadrant storm surge, but it may also prolong our flooding.
Yeah, so the storm surge that, say, the North Myrtle Beach area might get is not on par with what you would get if you were getting a full-on major hurricane coming ashore near in the right front quadrant. However, there's enough of an onshore push expected tonight and into tomorrow that you could get 2 to 4 feet above normally dry ground, especially near the coast, especially around high tide tonight, around midnight. Such that there is a storm surge warning in effect north of Myrtle Beach, that part of South Carolina, and then extending into North Carolina, where the storm surge warnings have been up for some time and will be even into the sounds and rivers. And if you look at the radar, you can understand why this is going to become a concern. Here's Myrtle Beach, and here's the remainder of North Myrtle Beach up to the North Carolina border. Here's the center of circulation. So the onshore push is into the Cape Fear River area, into Wilmington, and all the way up into eastern North Carolina. But as this moves westward, then that onshore push will come into the North Myrtle Beach area, where there's already a flash flood warning and several more inches of rainfall are expected. So, Mark, that combination is what I fear will lead to some potentially devastating flooding, because the storm surge is not going to let the rainwater and the flooding come back out.
Yeah, and you know, I'm going to pick it up right where you left it, Dr. Nab. Anywhere that you see the bright green outlines on the map, that pickle color, you're really in a pickle tonight. Those are all flash flood warnings that are ongoing. We're getting reports as far south as outside Columbia now, with winds gusting over 43 miles per hour. Storm surge continuing of 3 feet near the coast, and now near Wake Forest, flooding on the roads. We'll be right back.
Feel the clarity of non-drowsy Claritin and relief from symptoms caused by over 200 allergens, like those from Buddy. Because stuffed animals are clearly no substitute for real ones. Feel the clarity and live Claritin Clear.
DiGiorno Crispy Pan Pizza bakes fresh in its own pan and travels straight to your table.
Unlike delivery that goes from oven to box to bag to car to traffic to wrong houses. DiGiorno delivers a crispy caramelized crust straight from your oven. It's not delivery, it's DiGiorno.
Where will you be when your oral laxative kicks in? The pool? In bed? Try Fleet Liquid Glycerin instead. Relief in minutes, not hours, guaranteed. Fleet.
Every time on your time.
It's only a matter of time until your check engine light comes on, or worse yet, your car needs repair. That could mean a big surprise auto repair bill. Those repairs are more expensive than ever. A new engine can be over $5,000. A new transmission over $4,000. That's why it's so important you call CarShield today. CarShield is the #1 auto protection company in the country.
I like CarShield because they were reliable, they were affordable, and they were trustworthy.
Well, I think everybody should have CarShield. Once your manufacturer's warranty is expired, there's just no big bills. If we needed repairs, CarShield was there for us.
Now it's your turn to get the peace of mind that comes with having CarShield, so you can worry less about auto repairs. Call or go online right now to get CarShield for yourself. Friendly, knowledgeable, money-saving representatives are available 24 hours a day. So if your car is 20 years old or newer, just tell us the make and model of your car or truck to get an instant plan quote. In a matter of minutes, you can be covered.
I was elated that I had CarShield. I was more than happy.
It's no fun when you have a car and it's broken and you can't pay for it to get it fixed.
Here's how CarShield works. When your car needs repair, you take it to your favorite mechanic or even your dealer, and CarShield gets them paid directly. That's why CarShield is America's #1 auto protection provider.
CarShield is just the best thing to take away the fear that when something is going to go wrong with your car, because it will, and CarShield is going to be there to back you up.
My experience with CarShield is that they absolutely come through every time I need them.
If my car breaks down, I can count on CarShield to cover it for me. CarShield definitely has my back.
Now it's the time to make the smart choice and protect yourself from sky-high auto repair bills. Call now for a free and instant protection plan quote. It's only a matter of time until repairs are needed, and once your car breaks down, it's too late.
Call 1-800-507-0166. That's 1-800-507-0166.
Part 1 was perfect, but then they made a sequel, and it lived up to the hype. After 2 hits this big, you make a trilogy.
Our team coverage continues here. I'm meteorologist Alex Wilson in Wilmington, North Carolina, as we continue to track Tropical Storm Florence. We've got our crews out across the southeast, including meteorologist Mike Bettis. He is in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, also dealing with the most significant impacts now. But what's coming is heavy rain in a place like Charlotte, North Carolina. Reynolds Wolf, our meteorologist, is there to bring us the update on the potential for not just flash flooding, but also landslides and mudslides. And then, of course, in our Atlanta studios, the expert analysis you can only get here on the Weather Channel. Our hurricane expert, Dr. Rick Knabb, is there with meteorologist Mark Elliott. Both of them will be breaking down every aspect of the storm still yet to come. And it's still ongoing here in Wilmington. You know, we saw this storm make landfall just about 12 hours ago, 7:15 a.m. in Wrightsville Beach, not far from here, about 10 miles off to our east and south. Moved on shore. We had winds gusting 105 miles an hour here in Wilmington, and those winds have stayed strong as we've gone through the day. We had a little bit of a break in the middle of the day, now picking back up once again, and we've got those gusts at or above 50 miles an hour. The rain, though, has not let up at all, and that's what's going to continue as we go through the overnight and into our Saturday. And so flooding will be a huge concern and perhaps the real calling card of Hurricane, now Tropical Storm Florence, with heavy rain likely across many communities in eastern North Carolina. We have already exceeded the highest rainfall total from Hurricane Matthew back in 2016, and we think we're very likely, it's just about a guarantee, that we will set the record for rainfall in North Carolina from a tropical system. That record just over 24 inches, and we're just a few inches away. We've seen over 20-inch totals already across North Carolina. Here in Wilmington, the prediction is 2 feet or more, and it would not be out of the realm of possibility that we look at rainfall totals of 30 or 40 inches. Here in Wilmington, it won't just be the freshwater flooding, but the push of water here from the Cape Fear River. If you've been with us the past 2 days, moving from north to south, well, thanks to that southerly and southeasterly push that we've got ongoing today, it is now moving south to north, and we've seen it push onshore. Meteorologist Mike Bettis, not far from me in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Mike, the power outages have been adding up here across North Carolina, and I would imagine the numbers are going up there in South Carolina, too.
Indeed, they have 110,000 plus now without power in South Carolina, and that was 0 earlier in the day, but the winds have been nonstop. The rain has been relentless, and we've got these gusty winds, even though the overall strength of Florence is decreasing. Really gusty winds that gust over 70 miles an hour are going to bring down trees and power poles. We've already had numerous locations around Myrtle Beach where power lines have come down. They've sparked on the ground. They've caused brief fires and smoke that comes up. And a reminder, in your neighborhood, if you're still here, if a power line goes down, treat it as if it's live. You can call 911 and report that a power line down, but you need to stay at minimum 30 feet away from all down power lines, okay? Don't touch them. Don't go anywhere near them. It's certainly not worth it. The thing about what's going on with the weather this evening is it's going to start getting dark. Hopefully no one's out. They've got a curfew that's in effect here, dusk to dawn. And now that we've got the wind and the rain today, emergency services aren't responding to any 911 calls, okay? The conditions are just too bad for them to be out. Not only do we have the high gusty winds, we're now starting to see streets fill up with water. So the last thing you want to do is get your firefighters out there or get your police officers out there and they have to drive a vehicle through a flooded roadway. They're just not going to risk it, okay? So at this point, you're on your own. That's not going to be a thing that you're going to have to deal with. 911 will still take your call, but they'll just record your call, and then at a later time, if you need first responders when the weather allows, they'll be able to come to your location. The other thing about it is this, folks. Eventually, this is going to go away, right? It may take a while to do that. Such a slow-moving system. Debris crews, power crews are pre-positioned, and they're ready to go also when the weather permits. And it's going to be a lengthy process for cleanup, and it may be slower than you want it to be, so here's where you have to exercise your patience, right? Once the storm goes by, you're going to have to think about crews have to come in, chainsaws, big heavy equipment, clear out the roads, first responders will come in, utility crews will come in, and then you'll be allowed after that, when your neighborhood is deemed safe, to come in. There'll be pre-positioned checkpoints. You'll have to show an ID and proof of residency to get in. But that'll be down the road. In the meantime, this is what we have to contend with. Still more power outages likely tonight, but as Florence pulls away, winds will start to die down. Tomorrow we'll see the winds gradually taper off. That'll be a good thing. The rain may still be there, though, and that'll be an ongoing threat for us, especially with a turning wind to an onshore flow, which won't allow the water from the Waccamaw and the intercoastal here to drain effectively, okay? So if we get an onshore push here, we just push the water back up the rivers, unfortunately, Dr. Knapp. That could cause prolonged flooding. You know, I think about a place like Conway. During Matthew, Conway's, you know, inland from here in the middle of Horry County. Conway had some pretty significant flooding during Matthew. I'm afraid we could see a repeat of that, and it may be even worse with Florence than it was with Matthew.
I'm really glad you said that and made that very good point, Mike, because I would need folks in South Carolina to be looking to the north and east to see what is unfolding in North Carolina and what is probably headed your way in terms of potentially having flooding worse than some of you have ever experienced. And that's saying a lot, given that we in this area we've dealt with the likes of Matthew and Floyd in the past. Now, this storm is several hundred miles across, but I wanted for the moment to focus on this primary band that's off to the north and to the east. There's flash flood warnings and flood warnings all over the place, but let's talk about the warnings that are along this particular band. This recently issued extended flash flood warning is a flash flood emergency in Carteret County, in portions of Craven and Pamlico as well. This is in the Morehead City area and includes New Bern. So this is area that got the hurricane force wind sustained, got the storm surge, but now we are seeing widespread, unprecedented rainfall totals and flooding. Water is getting into businesses, into homes, covering roads, and people who've never experienced flooding before in this area are now having to seek refuge. And there may be some of you in this area who are needing rescue. You got to call 911. Don't get in your car to escape flooding if it's coming into your home. You've got to call 911 because you could end up getting into even more danger if you try to venture out. So this is one of the flash flood emergencies that's currently ongoing, and we're going to have, unfortunately, at high tide tonight in the New Bern area, for example, another round of storm surge flooding. And then there's a flash flood emergency associated with this warning up in the Goldsboro area in Johnston and Wayne counties. That's until 10 p.m. Eastern time. Water rescues going on in this area as well. So, Mark, if you envision this all moving westward, and in places like where Mike Bettis is, where they've already got a flash flood warning, and they're going to get more rain, and then they're going to get the onshore push from the storm surge, this could really be a widespread flash flood emergency situation in 2 states.
And of course, that's just the rain coming down from the sky. It then has to go into the river systems. They're backed up because of that onshore flow. There's going to be a lot of water when all is said and done. Dr. Knapp, thanks so much. We also want to get you up to date on what we know right now from Florence, including that landfall officially occurred this morning at 7:15. Don't put too much on this because it's a little bit different than some of your other storms, that it's not done just because landfall occurred. But again, that landfall near Wrightsville Beach in North Carolina. Unfortunate news to report, at least 5 people have been killed already, including a mother and infant that were killed when a tree fell on their house. And as of the latest checks, roughly 840,000 people are without power across North and South Carolina. Let me show you what we've already been dealing with regards to some of the superlatives from this storm. The wind gusts when that landfall was taking place near Cape Lookout, 106 miles per hour, Wilmington, 105. We're much lower now with our top wind speeds, but there's enough wind to do plenty of power issues and tree falls, considering the amount of water that we've seen. These are preliminary. It is still pouring in these very locations. Newport has already seen over 19 inches of rain. Wrightsville Beach, over 18.5, Cape Fear over 17 inches, and again, still raining. Add to that, we've got a chance for tornadoes as we go through the rest of the evening hours. That goes until 11 o'clock, and we're not done today. Sorry, everybody. I've got a little something in my throat. Let's try to reset that. Nope, still gone. Tomorrow, still some big storms, coastal South Carolina into North Carolina. So that threat will continue. Tropical tornadoes are likely with this situation, right? Supercells, that are kind of wrapped up in those bands that come on shore, typically weak, but they can happen, and they will happen. They've been happening. They will happen again with this storm system. Quickly, some of the storm reports that have come through, lots of flash flood warnings, and that will only continue. Look at all these storm reports. Now we're starting to get some wind as far outside as Columbia. The rain has arrived in Columbia. You're starting to see some wind gusts at 43. A surge continues 3 foot over Highway 24. And look at this around Raleigh now. Flash flooding over US 1A and west of Raleigh. We've got trees coming down on a large tree on a home. So I want to go out to Reynolds Wolf. Reynolds, the rain basically just arriving for you, but man, you look at the reports coming in from far outside this storm, well to your north. That's the kind of stuff that's coming your way.
No, it's marching like a phalanx, isn't it? I mean, just step by step from the coast, getting closer inland, eventually possibly affecting places like the Piedmont. But the story that we have in the Queen City is the weather has been, for the most part today, pure royalty. But later on, guess what? We're going to have the hammer, the crushing rainfall, and again, the stronger winds. The big transformation we've seen lately, the wind's been a bit of a constant. It comes and goes. Then we have more of a steady breeze. But the thing that's really been picking up, some of the rainfall, light to moderate showers, but as Mark mentioned a moment ago, we're going to see a bit more. Now, I don't know how it translates. I'm sure maybe the camera can't convey it, but we've got some big clouds that continue just to race their way across the top of those buildings to the heavens above, and the rain is coming down, and that's one of the big stories that we're going to be dealing with. While the rain comes down, something has been coming up, and that's the number of power outages. We heard from Duke Energy a short while ago. That's the #1 supplier of energy in this region here in Mecklenburg County, and the numbers were around 1,500 customers, that power. So I think those numbers are definitely going to be on the uptick. Now, when you extrapolate those numbers, when you go beyond just what we have in Mecklenburg County to the region, we're talking about numbers that are up to, well, beyond 500,000. Those numbers are also going to be in the upswing. Very quickly, let's show you some maps that really show you the amount of rainfall that we do anticipate. Notice the time frame is not just for this evening, but we're talking about the potential of a prolonged event that could go for several days, maybe even to Tuesday, where rainfall totals could go anywhere from, say, 5 to 6, 7, 8, maybe as much as 10 inches of rainfall in some spots. Bigger, expansive view shows, of course, the state really getting quite a bit of it along the coast. Obviously, as you've been able to bear witness to it for much of the evening. But Alex, as it goes out towards, again, west of the Carolinas, we're talking places like Asheville, orographic lift could be a huge issue, and maybe even mudslides. Let's slide our way back to Alex. What a day it's been, and what a story this could prove to be. Even after the wind and rain goes down, we got a lot of cleaning up to do. Back to you, Alex.
Yeah, but you have a great point over there in western North Carolina, upstate South Carolina. Those mountains can really enhance the rainfall. Landslides, mudslides I think will be a big story as we follow Florence's future path. Current path has it sitting still very close to Wilmington, North Carolina, after making landfall not far from here earlier this morning, about 12 hours ago, 7:15. We had landfall, 105-mile-per-hour gusts here in Wilmington, North Carolina, and the power has been out all day across this community, and understandably so. People here at this hotel have been, staying put. A lot of the people here either call a boat home or just didn't feel comfortable staying in their coastal home, so they moved inland here. But we have seen that rush of water onshore, even here in Wilmington today. The Cape Fear River behind me, that reached its highest level on record. So we've seen that high. And earlier this afternoon, we actually saw the water here over the boardwalk behind me and well into the parking lot. So we've seen it lower. However, with those winds continuing to be out of the south-southeast, we are going to continue with that onshore push from the Cape Fear River. So that could once again encroach over the same spots. Then we've got the rainfall. You know, Reynolds talking about inland flooding. That's a threat here. We could be dealing with river flooding, flash flooding. And when you get to these coastal areas where the river's already pushing onshore, there's nowhere for that additional water to go. So flooding looks to be an extensive and expansive threat as we go into the weekend and through the weekend here across eastern North Carolina. And some astronomical totals, already over 20 inches here in communities not far from Wilmington. But we think we could double that by the time Florence is over. We've seen some really heavy rainfall rates, 2 to 3 inches per hour here this afternoon in Wilmington, and that will continue tonight and into tomorrow. Another location bracing for the flooding rain and also dealing with the winds that we still have on the strong side here in Wilmington. I call for it and you get it. Mike Bettis, you're in Myrtle Beach. And Mike, you know, those winds exceptional around your area today. We saw this storm just slowly meander to the south.
Yeah, it really was really peaking, I think, probably about 2-3 hours ago. I feel like the winds maybe have backed up just a little bit. They're still very gusty, but maybe the most intense gusts have tapered a little bit. And I think that may be an overall indication of the weakening system in general, okay? That we've gone from a hurricane to a tropical storm. It doesn't mean that we won't still see issues with the wind. I think we still will, especially considering now that we've had so much rain today, and the root systems of trees, especially the shallow-rooted trees, will just take them right over. We've seen a lot of power outages. They've really gone up throughout the day today. Highest wind gust, by the way, reported here in Myrtle Beach at 61 miles per hour. I have a feeling we'll probably get some co-op observations or maybe even some evening observations from the airport that could potentially be higher than that. But even, folks, even if it's just a 61-mile-an-hour wind gust, knowing that we've now got over 100,000 customers without power, that should tell you something, right? You don't need excessive winds to get power outages. But now we turn to the wind, and I'm with you, folks. It's going to be exhausting. This is going to go on for a long time. It's going to rain all night long. It's going to rain probably all day long tomorrow as well. And before you know it, we're going to be setting records with rainfall. And yes, it is very, very possible that we'll be setting state rainfall records for a tropical system. This is all going to take time to exit. It's all going to take time to improve, and you need to have some patience here of what's going to happen. I want you to stick around. We're going to continue to show you the elements out here with our crews in the field, and of course, with Dr. Rick Knapp at the Weather Channel headquarters. You're watching continuing coverage of Florence.
When your blanket's freshness fades before the binge watching begins, that's when you know it's half washed. Next time, add Downy fabric conditioner for freshness that lasts through next week's finale. Downy, and it's done.
As animal lovers, we assume that everyone is going to treat animals kindly. When you realize that that's not the case, it's shocking. Animals are abused in so many ways. Sometimes seeing the cruelty and what happens to these animals is almost too painful to watch. You can look at those images and just be so angry that anyone could do that to an animal.
Animals are abused every day, and they can't ask for help. They endure indescribable acts of violence, but they're without a voice. Without a voice to say they're frightened and in pain. They're alone, they're scared, and they need your help. Visit us at joinaspca.org or call this number now and sign up with your monthly donation. The situation is urgent, so please don't delay. It's only 63 cents a day, and you'll help rescue animals who are suffering. Do it in the next 10 minutes, and we'll send you the photo of an animal from our shelter and a free ASPCA t-shirt.
When you look directly into their eyes, you do see into their heart all of the suffering, all of the pain. If they had a voice, they would say, please help me. These animals don't have any way out. They don't have any escape. They need people like us to actually be the ones to stand up and say, I will help you.
It's a painful and horrifying life for these animals. But for just 63 cents a day, you can change everything. It could be the most important thing you do today. Please sign up now.
You can drink, eat well, and exercise, but to look completely healthy, you need healthy skin. Cetaphil Water Light Moisturizers immediately rehydrate skin for continuous hydration, day and night. Complete your healthy routine with Cetaphil.
Clean up.
The Colorado Quit Line is a service that offers free one-on-one coaching and nicotine patches or gum.
We can help someone who isn't ready to quit tomorrow.
Free patches, gum, and lozenges are delivered to your door. Coaches listen and understand. They are non-judgmental and confidential. Coaches help you think through your feelings about smoking.
It's totally okay for us to ask, what would you miss about smoking if you put it down tomorrow?
Thinking about what you like and what you don't like is part of the process.
We want to help you put together a plan, but we also want to help that person to Like if there's anything getting in the way of doing that, like maybe they still really like smoking, there's going to be a bunch of stuff that they miss about it, like working through what that means to them.
You are 7 times more likely to quit with help. Enroll online or call 1-800-QUIT-NOW today.
Nominated Weather Network on cable.
When this much rain falls, it is a life-threatening situation.
Is the most essential coverage on TV.
Currently in our area, 91 degrees under sunny skies. Tonight, generally clear. Low 59. Winds south-southwest at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Saturday, sunny skies. High 94. West winds shifting to east at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Saturday night, a mostly clear sky. Low 62. Winds south-southwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Here's our 7-day outlook.
There's transformers popping everywhere, a lot of power surges. The lights come back on, they go off, they come back on. But of course, we're in the eye wall, so that's exactly what's expected in through here. The rainfall, there's so much water loaded with this thing, and it's going to keep, the wind field is still very, very large. So it's going to keep pushing the water even well after it comes on shore. You can see it's still howling horizontal here. There's still a lot of energy in that high wall. Wow, that was a good one. That was probably our strongest gust this morning right there. Holy smoke. We're still getting hammered down here by the river. I'm going to walk over for a second. I want to see if I can't at least get an idea of what's happening with the Cape. This parking lot is filling up with water right now. There's a lot of water in this parking lot as it comes down. Winds are still very gusty here. We are not in any calm whatsoever in downtown Wilmington. Whoa! Our continuing coverage of Florence rolls on in a moment. Wow.
Yeah, that was Jim saying no calm this morning and no calm even now. About 12 hours after this storm made landfall, we still have strong wind gusts and torrential downpours coming down from time to time. We lost the ASOS at the Wilmington airport. At last check, though, it was reporting gusts around 50 miles an hour. And I think we're still looking at gusts in that range, in that realm, 40 to 50 mile per hour gusts as we've gone through the last few hours. And rain, of course, one of the big issues. There's one of those strong gusts. Rain, one of the big issues now moving forward. So the winds will begin to relax as we head through Saturday. However, they could still be gusty even on Saturday. But rain will become the most dangerous threat from Florence because of the immense flash flooding danger that it's going to bring, not just to communities here around Wilmington and eastern North Carolina, where we're going to be measuring that rainfall in feet, but for areas well inland. And for a place like eastern North Carolina, for so long, or not for so long, but for so recent, it's been Matthew that was really the calling card or the storm of legacy for significant flooding here. We remember Lumberton, not far from here, absolutely deluged by rain. Well, we have already seen rainfall totals higher than that of Matthew out of Florence, and we think we're easily going to break the state rainfall record from a tropical system. The problems, they're going to head inland as well. Reynolds Wolf is in Charlotte, North Carolina. Now, Reynolds, I used to forecast for western North Carolina, upstate South Carolina, and that's a complicated area because you've got the mountains, and now you've got to talk about not just flash flooding, but also landslides and mudslides.
You're absolutely right. I mean, you bring up such a great point. I mean, you think about the topography, and it really does be a huge player in this part of the story. On the Outer Banks, you've got places like Rodanthe, where you're roughly 5 feet above sea level, and then you get to the high expanse. The up and towards western Carolina, it's much higher. So certainly a big variance there. But we happen to be in Charlotte, roughly 750 feet above sea level, and up it goes. And the higher up you go, it has this thing called orographic lift where it can enhance the rainfall. Where we happen to be right now in Charlotte, the rain is beginning to pick up quite a bit. Quite a few people still out and about for the time being, and a number of people that have been evacuees. We also have quite a few power crews here that are staging, that are getting ready. One of the big problems they may have to face, though, as they roll forward in time is trying to restore power. They could have things that could be in the way as they make their way down a lot of the roadways. Trees and maybe even rocks and mud from landslides. Let's focus on the landslide potential that we have, especially back in the high elevations of the Carolinas. Now, there are a couple things that go into play. One, you've got geography. The second, you've got gravity. And then on top of that, you've got the water itself. Now, as we take these graphics, let's see if we can make these things full so you can see it plain as day. And the heavy rain that seeps through the soil until reaching the impenetrable layer. And then, guess what? That thin layer of water, it kind of acts like a lubricant, right? And then you have, of course, gravity overcomes the surface tension, and then everything begins to move down the mountain, and it can do so relatively quickly. Not just major mountains, and I don't need to misspeak there. It could be just even some steep hills. And when that comes down, it could go down like a sledgehammer, just crushing anything in its way. Other trees, homes, vehicles, really an unstoppable force, and something that we may have to contend with as we roll forward in time. So that what we try to press to people, Alex, is that although this is certainly a seaborne issue that we're dealing with in terms of systems, the story does not end right along the coastline. We've got more problems we're going to be dealing with into the interior of the state and beyond, something we'll have to contend with for quite a bit. Big struggle ahead, no doubt, Alex. Back to you.
Yeah, and just as dangerous of concerns moving forward. Here in Wilmington, the rain coming down in buckets, some torrential downpours as we are still dealing with the heavy rainfall of Florence's circulation along with the strong winds. Getting another check with Dr. Rick Nava, our hurricane expert, and of course Mike Bettis in Myrtle Beach coming up.
Make sure whatever you're into outside doesn't ruin your vehicle's inside. WeatherTech keeps you protected with everything from cargo liners, bump step, and side window deflectors to our laser measured floor liners. Order yours today at WeatherTech.com. The ultimate protection for your vehicle.
At Land's End, comfort is in our jeans. We build in features that matter, like a no-gap waist, improved stretch, and jeans for men that put comfort first with flex built in. No matter how much walking, sitting, dancing, or jumping through hoops your day requires, you're going to look and feel amazing. Guaranteed. Period.
It's South Beach Diet's Healthy Living Sale. Join for free and get $100 in free food. Lose weight fast and get in the best shape of your life.
I'm Jesse James Decker, and if y'all want to know how I stay in shape, I do it with the South Beach Diet.
Lose up to 9 pounds and 3 inches in your first 2 weeks. Order your 28-day plan today and get fully prepared meals delivered to your door.
I'm healthy and in the best shape of my life.
South Beach is a low-sugar, high-protein, low-carb lifestyle that burns fat and transforms your metabolism.
I lost 24 pounds on the South Beach Diet.
Order your 28-day plan now and receive a week of best-selling South Beach Complete Shakes free. They're packed with 20 grams of protein, a great source of probiotics, and taste great. Act now. Join for free and get $100 in free food.
Trust me, the South Beach Diet works. Call or click right now.
Call 844-690-BEST or go to southbeachdiet.com/sale and get $100 in free food plus shakes free.
In just days, Publishers Clearinghouse awards the $2,500 a week forever prize. Win $2,500 a week for your life. Then after that, someone you choose gets $2,500 a week for their life. Don't miss your final chance to win. Enter at PCH.com and October 26th. Win forever.
Let's face it, everyone would love a smartphone these days, but not everyone wants unlimited everything. For people who just need GPS, a good camera, and a few apps, there's TracFone, the original no-contract wireless provider. Smartphone plans start as low as $15, with phones from top brands like Samsung and LG at very affordable prices. TracFone has nationwide coverage on America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks.
TracFone, for moments that matter. Available at Walmart for a low price every day.
When you carry out large 3-topping pizzas from Domino's for $7.99 each, you don't want bad roads ruining your good pizza. So we're doing something about that. If your drive home is rough on pizza, submit it at havingforpizza.com and we might fix it.
Closed captioning brought to you by Grown in Idaho Super Crispy Fries.
New Super Crispy Grown in Idaho frozen fries. Bake up crispy on the outside and tender on the inside. Grown in Idaho Super Crispy Fries. Mmm, super crispy.
We've had 23 states to send us help in teams of people and personnel and equipment. And I'm very grateful to them for stepping up. Met with search and rescue teams from Ohio and New Jersey and New York. We've had personnel from as far away as California. This is Americans pulling together. They saw North Carolina was in trouble. They sent people to help. And over the years, North Carolina has done the same thing in kind to other states. We have gone and helped them through their struggles. It's about pulling together, and we're grateful for the rest of the country for the help that you've given us, and we're going to get through this.
North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper talking about the outpouring of help from other states into the Carolinas to assist with Florence, which has been just a devastating blow to North and South Carolina. Huge number of power outages, and we know that we already have positioned 40,000 crews from 17 different states to assist with restoring power after the fact. We have about 800,000 customers now without power, which equates to roughly 2.5 million people. That 800,000 customers is households, basically, and you can equate about 3 people per household, roughly, to give you that number. That'd be over 2 million. Obviously, still very gusty winds here tonight in Myrtle Beach. Torrential rain still coming down, and we're going to see rainfall rates that could be 2 to 3 inches per hour. In some pockets, maybe even slightly more than that. And so flooding is going to be an ongoing concern for us. And that flooding rain is going to probably be the one thing that lasts the longest for us, unfortunately. The overall winds with Florence are coming down. We went from a hurricane earlier today now to a strong tropical storm with maximum sustained winds at 70 miles per hour. But the gusts will be up there, and that's enough to take down some trees and power lines. Keep that in mind. But as the winds gradually begin to die down, the rain remains. And we think that we could be rivaling state records for tropical cyclones, okay? So you have to keep that in mind, what the ongoing impacts will be from rain. Dr. Knabb, in your experience in dealing with these and forecasting these, you know all too well of the danger of water. We've got ongoing issues tonight with flash flood emergencies actually being issued.
Unfortunately, this is going to become more and more commonplace, and it's becoming more and more urgent, Mark, as we really are finding communities getting into really dangerous conditions due to the water. And look at what the wind has already done.
Yeah, so that combination of too much water and then wind on top of it is going to be responsible for all kinds of risks through the overnight and potentially through the weekend. We're talking homes already surrounded by water. That means trees and the root balls of those trees surrounded by water. They just cannot hold on the same way as the wind moves in when they're surrounded by water like that. And unfortunately, Dr. Knabb, water is a big story right now. The National Weather Service office is really ramping up this wording, saying that, about the dangers that are occurring right now.
Yeah, and so look at all these flash flood warnings and look how slowly moving this large tropical storm just lumbering off to the west. But we're really concerned in particular about this nasty band off pretty far from the center circulation to the north and to the east. And so this is that flash flood warning that has now become a flash flood emergency in Carteret County, parts of Craven and Pamlico, including Morehead City that got the hurricane conditions and the storm surge, and New Bern, which is up in here. All of these areas in this flash flood emergency, and it has really been ramped up in terms of what the National Weather Service office that is in that county dealing with it personally is saying.
And so these are their homes and their jurisdiction that they're warning about. Already unprecedented rainfall of over 2 feet has occurred. Widespread flooding is occurring. These are their words. We appeal to you to help us spread the word of this particularly dangerous situation. Most roads in those counties are now becoming impassable, and the citizens are running out of time, Dr. Knabb. If they are still there and need to evacuate, there's not a lot of ways out at this point. So this is turning into a catastrophe in the making.
Yeah, There are people who have never been flooded before who are having to seek shelter in emergency refuge, and they're trying to explain to people what to do, okay, as the waters rise. And we wanted to summarize for you all the things that you can do in these particularly dangerous situations to survive inland flooding. We always say don't drive across any water-covered roads, don't drive around anything that says road closed, and don't go into the waters. Now, you might be thinking, well, what if I'm trapped in my home and I'm being told to go seek shelter? Right. Well, what you want to do, and we've got that outlined right here, and that is if you're trapped in your home by the floodwaters and you don't see it as a safe way to drive out or walk out, you want to go to the highest portion of your home and call 911.
Are we at the point now that we should be telling people, hey, bring something to break out of your house, whether it's through a window, if you have to break through a roof line?
Anything not to drown.
Yeah.
Yes.
So at this point, I mean, if all your tools are on the low level and you're about to go up, grab that toolbox with you so that you have something there just in case that water does continue to rise.
Yeah, the main idea, though, is don't assume that it's the best idea to go get in your car and get out.
Absolutely.
Because you could be driving to your death that way. So call 911 if you're truly in a life-threatening situation, and moments seem to matter.
So I want to go back out to Mike Bettis. Mike, obviously the National Weather Service trying to put all things out there, saying this is a really dangerous situation and getting worse by the second.
Life-threatening, no question about it. Life-threatening if you find yourself out in this weather. So being home, being safe is the best thing for you to be, especially now that night is descending upon us, making the conditions scary tonight. We're going to outline all the dangers that still remain with Florence with our teams out in the field and our experts in the studio. Stay with us.
Bringing my Giovanni Rana pasta to everyone in America wasn't so easy. So I made it easy for America to find me. In the refrigerated section, Giovanni Rana pasta. Share what's inside.
Unstop right there. I'm about to pop a cap of fresh in that washer. With Unstoppable in-wash scent boosters by Downy. Oh, it's so fresh. And it's going to last from wash to wear for up to 12 weeks. Right? Freshness for weeks. Downy Unstoppables for fresh too feisty to quit. And now, try Downy Unstoppables with the original scent of Tide.
He was diagnosed with a large tumor. St. Jude gave us our son back. This place is saving children every day.
Que él está bien, porque gracias a St. Jude me están dando una esperanza de vida para él.
1 in 5 children diagnosed with cancer in the U.S. will not survive. You can join the battle to save lives during Childhood Cancer Awareness Month by supporting St. Jude Children's Research Hospital.
Without St. Jude and without the research they've done, I may not have my daughter.
Families never receive a bill from St. Jude for treatment, travel, housing, or food, because all a family should worry about is helping their child live.
What's that?
Please call or go online right now and become a St. Jude Partner in Hope for only $19 a month.
I hope they find the cure for cancer so you can go back to being normal and be stronger.
They share their research, so it's saving children around the world.
When you join with your credit or debit card right now, we'll send you this St. Jude t-shirt you can wear to show your support for the children of St. Jude.
To people who have donated, I would say thank you from the bottom of my heart. I wish I could shake each and every one of your hands.
I cannot thank them enough. I wish they could see the lives they're changing.
St. Jude won't stop until no child dies from cancer.
St. Jude is giving us, hopefully, a future. They've given me my son.
Go online or call with your $19 monthly gift. Let's end childhood cancer together.
Feel the clarity of non-drowsy Claritin in relief from symptoms caused by over 200 allergens, like those from Buddy. Because stuffed animals are clearly no substitute for real ones. Feel the clarity and live Claritin Clear.
10:30 a.m. Starting now, feel the outer edge
South Carolina. The rain has increased exponentially and the winds have really picked up as well. Take a look out over the beach. Offshore wind, so everything's blowing out to sea right now. Now 12:45, strongest winds in Florence so far. Getting a horizontal rain just pelting us right now. Winds gusting over 50 miles an hour. We're like to see the wind and the rain stay like this, consistent if not stronger, for the remainder of the day and through the night tonight. Now 2 o'clock and the winds and the rain about as intense as they've been. It's been going on for about 4 to 5 hours now. The really intense rain bands and wind bands. Winds officially gusting to 55 at the airport, but there'll be isolated locations where the winds gust even higher than that, like where we are in this big exposed parking lot here. As far as flooding goes, haven't seen that yet, but it's just the beginning of the onset of the rain, and it'll go through the night tonight. 2:30 in the afternoon in Myrtle Beach, intense wind gusts with Florence now gusting over 65 miles an hour. Power's now going out, but still looking at the palms. They're still doing quite well. Some of the pine trees might have more issues, but this is the worst of Florence so far today.
All right, that's been a look at what Mike Bettis has been dealing with throughout the day, all thanks to what is now Tropical Storm Florence. Of course, made landfall earlier today as Hurricane Florence, not far from where I am. I'm meteorologist Alex Wilson here in Wilmington, North Carolina. It was Wrightsville Beach where that storm made landfall. And by the way, only 2 miles away from where the National Hurricane Center predicted in their 5-day outlook that this would. So an absolutely impeccable forecast by the National Hurricane Center. That did make landfall, bringing 105 mile per hour wind gusts here in the city of Wilmington. That bested both Floyd and Fran wind gusts, and we think, unfortunately, there could be more records that fall here in the city of Wilmington because of Florence. We already saw the Cape Fear River reach its highest level ever, and rain to come could also be taking top spots in the record books. We're forecasting 2 feet or more of rain. I mean, incredible rainfall totals. 30, 40 plus inches can't be ruled out. Now, we're getting a little bit of a break from the rain. It was coming down as if you were at the water park and somebody had flipped that bucket upside down over you. Not as heavy right now, but rain continues tonight, tomorrow night, and so that's why that rain will just continue to pile up here in parts of eastern and southeastern North Carolina, and why the flood threat will be so high moving forward. Not just in these coastal communities, though. Our Reynolds Wolf is in Charlotte, North Carolina, and you may be wondering, well, Charlotte's where a lot of people have evacuated. So is that the story? No, Reynolds, we're actually going to be watching for a flood threat there, flash flooding as well as mudslides.
Yeah, I'm afraid you're right. You're absolutely right about that. We could see both those things. We have both flash flooding and the prospect of mudslides. I actually spoke with a nice lady a short while ago who's lived in Charlotte her entire life, and one of her big fears happens to be that the ground being saturated, the wind picking up, and some of these beautiful oak trees that are well over a century old in her house possibly topping over. But that is what we can expect later on. Right now, we're adrift in a sea of movement and color. The wind picking up, but also the colors that we're seeing off of the horizon, high from the sky. Every now and then you'll see a little bit of blue mixed in with the patchwork of gray and occasionally even some pink, but that's the color, the movement, more clouds coming in, compliments of Florence. The story we're going to have tomorrow is that we're going to exchange those colors for more gray skies, and with it, the rain coming down top to bottom from the heavens to the ground, and that's where some of the real issues are going to come underway for parts of the Tar Heel State, especially here in the interior, and then farther back west when the landscape just changes from the flatlands to just some sudden hills, then more of a dramatic stretches we get into the higher elevation up towards Asheville. And in those areas, that's where we're going to have the problems with the potential of what Alex was talking about a few moments ago with the landslides. Let's begin by showing you a couple of maps that really do punch the story to us. You see the rainfall. Now, obviously, the heaviest amount of rainfall back over towards the coast, but where we happen to be in Charlotte, you'll see there's a chance you could have anywhere from, say, 6 to 8, maybe even as much as 10. These models that spit out this information could fluctuate. And also notice something else. We have it moving forward in time into Monday and Tuesday. So this is not going to be just one quick glut. It's going to be coming at a bit of a duration, several days, in fact. So the ground will get saturated, and then when the ground cannot handle anymore, that's when you have the runoff. When you have the runoff, well, that's when you've got a lot more problems. Rolling forward, we got to talk about the landslides again. Plain and simple, folks. It's really an easy thing to understand. You have the heavy rain that comes down, especially on the hillsides. You have that topography. The ground becomes saturated, and then gravity really does take its toll. And when that soil, when the rocks and the trees all go sliding down, it is truly like a battering ram, and sometimes with deadly effects. So folks advised to be prepared best they can. Watch their rivers, watch the streams. Those are going to be on the uptick too as this system continues to churn its way inland. And with it, Dr. Nab and Mark, I know we've got possibly real dangers that we're going to face for days to come.
Yeah, this is what's headed towards Charlotte over the weekend, Mark.
Yeah, Charlotte in a high risk as we move forward for flash flooding, but we're seeing flash flooding as we speak. So let's go into that band, that persistent band that continues to hammer really the coastline all the way to central North Carolina at this point.
And the one number in the new intermediate advisory from the Hurricane Center is still 3 miles an hour. That's how fast the storm is moving. So it's basically sitting still, and this band in the northeastern quadrant continues to hammer a lot of areas near the coast and inland, and so we've got multiple areas with flash flood emergencies, Mark.
Yeah, these are flash flood emergencies, ongoing water rescues in and around the Goldsboro area, right in the center of Johnson and Wayne counties. So flash flood warning emergency there. Flash flood emergency continues until 10 o'clock. Not the only one we're watching right now.
No, same band goes southeast from there, and we've got the flash flood emergency in Carteret, portions of Craven and Pamlico counties. This includes Morehead City and New Bern, which have also dealt with hurricane force winds and storm surge. And this is really, really getting serious because we've had, 2 feet almost of rain.
Right, and
perhaps?
it's still pointed at this same area, right? That onshore flow is still going to that same exact area. So National Weather Service in the area, the Morehead City office saying unprecedented rainfall amounts already with more rain ongoing. And we're appealing to all of you to get the word out. If anyone's nearby there, you got to get out now. It's a particularly dangerous situation. Most roads becoming impassable, and citizens are losing time to evacuate.
And for those that aren't in these areas, look at what's coming. This is through tomorrow morning where flash flooding is likely. We're seeing those warnings and emergencies in that area, but look at where it's going to expand to, farther and farther inland. And then look, by Sunday, you are squarely including places like metropolitan Charlotte, North Carolina.
And this, you get into the kind of the hills, the higher elevations, the Appalachian chain right there. That adds its own wrinkles as well.
Stay off the roads. That's the main thing you can do.
Continuing coverage of Florence coming up right after this.
The moment you realize you're lucky your backyard is in the back.
At Lowe's, we have everything you need to keep your yard looking great. Shop Lowe's and get 4 one-quart mums for $10.
You're the can-do guy, the I got this guy. But you're also the guy concerned about prostate health. And you're not alone. For guys over 50, the ingredients in Urinezinc help support prostate health. You're in control with Urinezinc.
In just days, Publishers Clearinghouse awards the $2,500 a week forever prize. Win $2,500 a week for your life. Then after that, someone you choose gets $2,500 a week for their life. Don't miss your final chance to win. Enter at PCH.com and October 26th. Win forever.
Olay Regenerist wipes out the competition. Hydrating better than $100, $200, even $400 creams. With our B3 complex, beautiful skin doesn't have to cost a fortune. Olay.
My prescriptions used to be...
The moments that matter in life aren't the ones you see coming. They're unplanned, unexpected, and occasionally unbelievable. Securian Financial offers insurance, investment, and retirement solutions that give you the confidence to enjoy the here and now, so you can make every moment count.
Tim Neville isn't like other politicians at the Capitol. They bicker. He works. Tim Neville works hard for us. Neville works hard to prioritize funding for roads and schools. Tim Neville works hard to keep the big spenders in check. No more taxes on working folks. We pay enough. Tim Neville is standing up for law enforcement. He's laser focused on keeping our schools safe. Tim Neville isn't like the other politicians. While they bicker, Neville works hard for you and me.
All the rain in the forecast created the opportunity for the perfect crime.
Storm of Suspicion premieres October 7th.
If you live with diabetes, why fingerstick when you can scan? With the Freestyle Libre, a continuous glucose monitoring system, you can check your glucose levels anytime without fingersticks. With the Freestyle Libre system, just scan the sensor and manage your diabetes. You can do it without fingersticks. Freestyle Libre is available with a prescription at participating pharmacies. Learn more at freestylelibre.us.
Currently in our area, 89 degrees under sunny skies. Tonight, generally clear. Low 59. Winds south-southwest at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Saturday, sunny skies. High 94. West winds shifting to east at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Saturday night, a mostly clear sky. Low 62. Winds south-southwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Here's our 7-day outlook.
We are tracking Florence as the impacts continue to roll in, and in this case, rolling in with waves on top of it. This is a look at the storm surge. This is literally the ocean marching its way forward, going right up against and in some cases through the beachfront homes. This happens to be in Southport, North Carolina. One of those wooden bridges, wooden piers, if you will, just absolutely battered. It's in shambles on that side of the screen. Part of that pier, it looks like, broke into this home where you're getting the camera vantage point through, and through the spray you can see that the water is literally up against, if not going through, entire homes that are right there on the beachfront. I don't want you to put your guard down with regards to surge. I want to bring in storm and hurricane expert Dr. Rick Knabb. Dr. Knabb, this surge and this onshore push could continue through the weekend, and we know we're going into another high tide, so the levels are only going to increase from where they are right now.
Yeah, we got through low tide a few hours ago, and now we're headed on the way up again, and this very slow-moving tropical storm is fully capable of continuing to cause a combination of saltwater flooding and freshwater flooding, and in some places that overlapping. The 8 p.m. Intermediate Public Advisory has a lot of numbers in it, but the one that bothers me the most is west at only 3 miles per hour. Again, that's as fast as a person walks. This is barely moving, and winds are still at 70 miles per hour. Just not going anywhere. Centered near the North Carolina-South Carolina border, but right near the coast, so it's still tapping into plenty of moisture off of the Atlantic. The forecast that was issued at 5 p.m. makes it clear that this is not going to be speeding up real soon. This will still be over South Carolina well into Sunday. And because it's such a large storm, this will still be a coastal and inland storm for days to come. We still have tropical storm warnings in effect along the coast and for a pretty far distance inland. That means we're going to have some power outages, and the more rain that falls, the easier it is for these winds to bring down trees and cause those power outages. Storm surge warning from north of Myrtle Beach all the way up into the Pamlico Sound area, including into areas like New Bern and on the Pamlico and Neuse rivers. The sprawling circulation is centered here, but we have multiple bands, and the nastiest one that's causing the most persistent rainfall and leading to the most dangerous flash flood situations is over here to the north and east. Johnston and Wayne counties flash flood emergency. We've had water rescues ongoing in the Goldsboro area. That's in effect till 10 p.m. Eastern. Wouldn't be surprised if that gets extended beyond that time. And a particularly dangerous situation, a flash flood emergency down in the Morehead City, Havelock, and New Bern areas. And again, New Bern, one of the areas that could also have an increase in the storm surge flooding as we head to high tide later tonight. So again, wanted to summarize what to do in the inland flood problem as this ramps up. up near the coast and inland. Don't drive onto any water-covered roads. Don't drive around any barricades. Don't go in the water at all. And if you're told to get out of your home because this is not a safe place to be anymore, but you're trapped in your home, Alex, you got to go to the highest floor and call 911. This is a little different kind of call to action than in a tornado.
Yeah, and Dr. Knapp, you made a wise point that you don't want to go to that attic unless you have a way to get out of it should that water continue to rise. So remember to consider that as you make your way towards either the attic or even the rooftop, if that might be the safer place to go to. Heavy rain will be the big threat here moving forward, as well as that onshore push. So a lot of the local National Weather Service offices are trying to get that memo out saying, this especially, now that it's dark, now that we're moving into the overnight hours, this is absolutely not the time to be on the roads, because unfortunately this is when it becomes most dangerous when you deal with flash flooding situations, and when it becomes most difficult to judge if water's covering a road or the depth of the water on the road. So this is when a lot of people unfortunately find themselves in trouble. So if you are in a safe, dry spot, stay in a safe, dry spot, because this is only going to continue as we go through the overnight and through the day tomorrow here in the Wilmington area. And just within the last half hour or so, these rainfall rates have picked up. I mean, torrential downpours coming down, and it's wind blown. We're still dealing with strong winds in excess of 40 miles an hour at times, as the circulation of Florence is still close by, even after making landfall over 12 hours ago, not far from here. We're seeing some wind damage, even extending inland. Reynolds, getting some reports in your area of wind damage.
You're absolutely right about that. Something to share with you. I had a conversation with a great lady about an hour or 2 hours ago or so, who was from the Myers Park area here in Charlotte, a beautiful, beautiful part of the city. And I asked her what her biggest fear happened to be. And she said her biggest fear happened to be tree damage, toppling trees, because near her home she had some really tall oak trees that were well over 100 years old. Well, we've got some new video to share with you that shows exactly some of her worst fears coming to fruition. Yep, folks, part and parcel is what we got. The ground that's saturated, the wind picking up from these bands from Florence moving inland, and with their invasion, you see the damage, you see the result, and this is just a sliver of what's to come. I fear that we're going to see a bit more of this as we roll forward into the evening hours, into tomorrow and through the weekend. And the big issue that this happens to be is it creates yet another obstacle for the thousands of power line workers, the men and women who are going to work around the clock to try to restore the services that are so desperately needed by so many people. This is just one more issue. On top of that, you've got the potential of the landslides that we referred to, the heavy rainfall that's not just a conjecture but a sure bet that we're going to deal with as we roll forward the overnight and into the early morning hours and into early next week. For the very latest in this system, Florence, it is inland, but the story long from over, affecting millions as we roll into the weekend and into early next week. For the latest on this story, keep it right here. You're at the right spot, the Weather Channel. See you.
Cologuard, colon cancer screening for people 50 and older at average risk.
I'm here for an important reason. Colon cancer screening. There's a bunch of places where screening wouldn't be easy. Like here. Or here. Nope. But here's a place you can screen for colon cancer anytime with Cologuard, in private, without any special prep. There really is no place like home.
Cologuard is not right for everyone, so ask your doctor if it's right for you.
Dibs. Dibs.
Dad, 1 dib per person per day. No transfer of dibs and no take-backsies. You get 1 dib.
Dibs.
Frito-Lay variety packs, packed full of smiles.
We drove up a really long driveway to a property that was hidden from the road. It was so hot. It was overwhelming to see how many animals there were, as well as the conditions they were in. Puppies tied up to chains. It was 100 degrees and there was nothing for them to drink. It was terrible.
Summer is a time when thousands of animals suffer in sweltering heat. Many of these animals have been left for dead, and we need your help to rescue them.
They were skin and bones. They had no food, no water, with no help in sight.
Go online or call right now with your $19 monthly gift. Many of these animals are almost out of time.
You know that there's so many others out there, and you think, had we gotten here 1 week earlier, could we have saved more animals?
We need 2,000 new donors in the next 30 days so that we can reach more animals who need our help this summer. Visit joinaspca.org on any device or call this number now. Sign up for only 63 cents a day, and we'll send you this free membership kit, including a magazine subscription, the photo of a rescued animal, and this limited edition Animal Champion t-shirt.
To see it up close and know that that's how people treat animals is heartbreaking.
Please help save animals' lives this summer. Go online or call now.
Our dad was in the hospital.
Because of smoking.
It still had to have a cigarette.
Had to.
But then we were like,
what are we doing?
The Nicoderm CQ patch helps prevent your urge to smoke all day. Nicoderm CQ. You know why, we know how.
We're forecasting maybe 40 inches or more of rain from this system.
We could be doubling our rainfall record here as far as the tropical system is concerned in the state of North Carolina.
Well, I would characterize the flood threat as the most life-threatening aspect of this.
If the storm hasn't reached you yet, it's still coming.
And moving forward from here, the flood threat will be the one that really takes over as we watch the future of Florence. I'm meteorologist Alex Wilson, live in Wilmington, North Carolina, where the rain is coming down heavy at times. And that's the story still over the next 24 to 36 hours. Heavy rain causing flooding. And it's not just here. We've got teams scattered across the region. Mike Bettis is in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and Reynolds Wolf is in Charlotte, North Carolina. Then, of course, we have, with expert analysis you can only get here on the Weather Channel, our hurricane expert, Dr. Rick Knabb. He's been monitoring this storm throughout the week and will continue to give you the very latest expectation on what we're going to see moving forward. Meteorologist Mark Elliott, also in our Atlanta studios. It's been a long afternoon. Mark, you've got the absolute latest on what's happening as far as this storm, which has already made headlines. Here in Wilmington, one of the headlines, a 105-mile-per-hour gust, so a stronger gust out of Florence than what we had out of Floyd and Fran. Also, the highest water level recorded on the river behind me here. So we have seen the Cape Fear River rise to levels we have not ever seen. And now we're going to be talking about some significant, serious, dangerous water totals when we talk about the rainfall that's already come and is still to come. Already in this region, we've seen rainfall totals exceeding 20 inches. So we're very close to breaking the state record for North Carolina as far as rain from a tropical system is concerned. But we don't think we're just going to break it. We think we're going to crush that record. We think we could be looking at 30, 35, 40 plus inches of rain out of Florence somewhere here in the southeast part of North Carolina. So that is going to bring with it a very significant danger, not just of that inland flooding, river flooding, flash flooding, and coastal inundation has been an issue. So along the beaches, we've seen significant surge, and we noticed that push of water here on the Cape Fear River as well. So there's going to be water coming in as that south-southeasterly push continues from Florence's wind field. I mentioned an inland flood concern, though. We've got teams inland as well because the rainfall rates are going to be problematic even there. Reynolds Wolf is in Charlotte, North Carolina this evening, and Reynolds, that's a region where now you're going to get the Appalachians in play. Now you've got terrain in play. Actually, Dr. Knabb, I'll talk to you about this because, you know, we're seeing just that tropical flow here, and we've got just those tropical downpours. But once you get the Appalachians in the mix, that's able to squeeze out just as much.
Yeah, and folks in western portions of South Carolina and North Carolina might be thinking, oh, this isn't so bad, but it's coming. It really is. It's just that it's moving very slowly. But once it starts, it's going to last a long, long time, both the wind and the rain from this tropical storm. High-end tropical storm at 70 miles an hour by the wind. but it is, I don't know how to classify this. West at only 3 miles an hour. It's just barely moving, and it's large. A slow-moving, large tropical storm is nothing but bad news, and that is due to wind and water. It is going to eventually move, but look, by Sunday, it's still not gotten very far. It's just getting into the southern Appalachians by that point, and then it will bring some rain farther north. And despite where the center goes, I mean, this cone does not tell you where the effects of wind and water are going to extend. It'll be inside that cone, but this is a large system. So way outside the cone, we've got big problems. Tropical storm warnings are in effect still along the coast and inland. This is going to be a coastal and inland storm for days to come because of those winds and because of the rain making the ground softer, easier to knock down trees into power lines. We are expecting very widespread power outages and likely extending into just about all of South Carolina. Maybe not everybody has their power taken out, but a lot of you will, and it will be possible even beyond that area. And because power outages can be surprisingly dangerous and deadly, I want to remind you of a few things. If the power goes out and if you've gotten a generator, operate it outdoors, not in the garage, far away from the building and the windows. Don't use candles or any other open flame, too much of a fire risk. Stay away from down power lines. We've already seen images of down power lines that are still live. Don't go anywhere near them or anything they're touching, including water. And think about if you need to take shelter and you've got life-sustaining medical equipment that relies on power, you want to go to some place that's got backup power if you have the time and the option to decide where to go. So, Mark, we've got water problems too, storm surge warnings.